getit.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/joy.
Hey, it's Rich. Zioli, when you're involved in an accident, you need a lawyer to help you maximize your recovery and get the fair value of your case. You need the law offices of Thomas G. Skopanich. My buddy Tom has been serving the greater Delaware Valley for over 25 years, and he's helped many clients. With offices located in Lansdale, Montgomery County, let Tom help you maximize your recovery and get the fair value for your case. Contact Tom at scopelawyer.com or 215-624-2211.
At American Heritage Credit Union, our rates allow you to choose what works best for your lifestyle. Enjoy greater flexibility with a high-yield savings account, earning 3.55% annual percentage yield on balances of $10,000 or more. Or plan for the future with a 5% annual percentage yield jumbo certificate for 11 months. Learn more at AmericanHeritageCU.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Not a member? Join today.
Hit a home run of a deal with this summer sales event going on right now at Winter Ford of Cherry Hill. Get up to $1,500 off all in-stock F-150 trucks. Not interested in a truck? Get a Grand Slam deal with 0% interest rates and up to $3,500 off select Ford models. Call 800-428-4000 for offer details. Visit in person or online at winterford.com. Winter Ford, people you trust, service and value you'll love.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Thursday, June 22nd. It is indeed Kayal and Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always live on the free Odyssey app and streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal, Kayal. Dawn Stensland back in the saddle. She has the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Daniel. That was a terrible impersonation out of me. But I digress. Oh, God, we got a lot of stuff to get to this morning. Maybe the most unlikable Democrat in politics gets shamed and censored yesterday. Joe Biden apparently totally obliterates any repair work that Anthony Blinken was able to accomplish with Chairman Xi, calling him a dictator. And China's not happy about it. We'll get to that story. Also, what are the odds with this Titanic submarine that a family member with a connection on that submarine had a connection to somebody that went down in 1912 with the ship?
What? I know. It's weird.
It's like, I mean, that's like hitting Powerball 5 times in your life.
Yeah. In a bad way.
In a bad way. And also a Philadelphia University graduate on board. So we will get to those stories as we move along this morning and work our way towards what is on the cut sheet. Big take coming up in just a couple of minutes. But before we get all of that, we get the news with Dawn Stensland here at 6:05.
Yes, and good morning on this chilly, a little drizzly morning. We'll tell you when the rain ends on this unusually cool day in Philadelphia. So we've talked a lot about the I-95 fire and collapse. Today, paving begins on that collapsed portion of I-95. This is way ahead of the reopening that we thought It was 2 weeks. When did the 2 weeks begin? Remember, we made bets and all of that. So we'll talk about the cost, and we'll talk about the 24/7 work crews, because Philadelphia crews have been working around the clock to repair this thing, this damaged section of Interstate 95, which impacts at least 1.1 million commuters, drivers, truck drivers. That's weekly, but it also, of course, shuts down or greatly impacts a lot of the supply chain issues. So we know that crews installed walls for those temporary lanes, expected to have the highway reopened by this weekend.
Hey-o.
Wow.
Doesn't this kind of just show us that when they want to actually repair roads and infrastructure, they could actually do it quick, fast, and in a hurry?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like, why do we need to have 202 or 476 under construction for 5 years? Seriously.
Well, how long did the Blue Route? How long was the Blue Route?
Yeah.
Even just to create the thing.
Yes.
It was like 20 years or
it's
something
unbelievable.
crazy.
Yep.
So the final layer of the sub base that we've been talking about, that's placed during the day. That's to be placed during the day, and the paving underway. And that was really last night, after that final layer of the sub base, that they spent the time putting that together. So as Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro had stated, the portion of I-95 that did collapse will reopen by the weekend, and he gave all the credit to the hard work of the crews on site, and as well the cooperation of local, state, and federal officials.
I think they were paving this morning, so like we're already in the paving stages of 95.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
How many lanes are going to open?
Is it 6?
I think a total of 6.
Yeah.
6, yeah.
Yep.
Both ways. Yeah. So 3.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never heard of this, and thanks to that, that local company.
Yeah, what did I say? September 2nd it would reopen? I was way off.
I've never seen anything like it. It's pretty cool. We're talking, obviously, everybody's the nation. There are a lot of prayers and a lot of eyeballs just checking out the situation as the air and the time is running out for that crew aboard that, I call it a mini submarine. It's a submersible. Everybody in the world is looking at this. But there's also a report that the ability to send potentially life-saving technology to even locate and retrieve it, that has been, you talk about bureaucracy. So on one hand, we didn't have the bureaucracy for I-95, but a lot of bureaucracy just trying to get those rovers that could go down that far to the bottom of the ocean where the Titanic is buried.
Yeah, they were also saying we had this story yesterday about how there was people heard a banging and they were wondering if it was the people in the submarine or if it was just like objects and metal floating around. Now they're saying that those sounds are inconclusive as to whether or not that signifies human life. So,
I think it gave everybody hope.
Sure.
But then when you think about how sound travels underwater.
Right.
And so who knows if the banging they're doing right off the Jersey coast for the wind turbines, can they hear that far away?
Right.
I mean, if they have underwater oil exploration someplace, you can hear it from very far away.
Yep.
So we got that going on for us, which is not nice.
No.
So we're watching that one. We have New Jersey. 2026 is the year when seniors will get a property tax cut because, everybody's moving out of New Jersey. So they're trying to keep New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy trying to change that look. That is controversial because many homeowners say it has supposed to help seniors. It's helping very wealthy people. And so there's a lot of outrage over that one as well. And we have the Phillies, the rain out. So last night, no game for our Phils. 105 today, facing Atlanta, facing the Braves. And then it means a doubleheader will happen on September 11th because last night's game was postponed. So we'll headline that one for you as well. All right, let's get to the NBC 10 first alert forecast this morning. We're only at 66 degrees, more than 20 degrees below normal, by the way, at 66 right now. And we've really reached our high. Maybe we'll get to 67, but I kind of doubt it. And then with the breeze, it feels much cooler. No sunshine today, cloudy. The rain will dissipate. It's kind of spitting outside right now, but the rain will dissipate throughout the day by this afternoon. And then tomorrow we pop up back up to more summer-like weather. Friday, 79 degrees, a chance for some stormy weather moving through. And then for your weekend, that similar pattern, it's almost like that Florida weather where you see 82, 84 degree weather, but maybe a passing storm moves through. Not a washout, but we do have storms and rain moving through sporadically over the weekend. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. It is 6:11 Thursday morning. Let's get to another Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, the Big Take this morning, the blatant disregard from the left. When it comes to staying in power and maintaining control, there is nothing the left won't do or say in order to remain on top. There's many things the right refuses to do, fails to do well, and ignores that the left capitalizes on and has success. However, it's time to really shine a light on the left and their blatant disregard for the rule of law, as well as their selective application of science in today's political and social landscape. Yesterday, John Durham revealed that the FBI kept intel on Hillary Clinton's plan to link Donald Trump with Russia collusion in 2016, and they kept it away from agents working on the case. John Durham of the Durham Report appeared before the House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday and testified that in 2016, the CIA was given intel that Hillary Clinton gave the go-ahead to a plan to link Donald Trump with the Kremlin, only for the FBI to do absolutely nothing with that information. Here is John Durham talking about James Comey and others not speaking publicly about this failure. Listen.
First, let me make it clear that it is as disappointing, perhaps more disappointing to me and my colleagues, that these people would not agree to be interviewed. Some of them had a lot to say publicly, but they refused to be interviewed by our folks.
Refused to be interviewed. What does that mean? My question would then be, well, why haven't they been subpoenaed to testify? Is John Durham a hack as well? And then we have Attorney General Merrick Garland, some 4,000 miles away in Sweden yesterday, and he was asked about the two-tier justice system that seems to exist when it comes to Joe Biden and his son compared to Donald Trump. Take a listen.
Do these cases reflect a different standard of justice depending on political leanings?
So, as I said, from the moment of my appointment as Attorney General, I would leave this matter in the hands of the United States Attorney, who was appointed by the previous president and assigned to this matter by the previous administration, that he would be given full authority to decide the matter as he decided was appropriate. And that's what he's done. And if you have any further questions about that matter, you should direct him to the U.S. Attorney to explain his decision.
Let me clear that up for the AG. If you can't answer that question with an emphatic no, then you just told America the answer is yes. It's as plain as day. Republican politicians are held to one standard, while the Democrats are held to almost none. The left will completely ignore precedent, rules of law, and any legal standing if it means eliminating their political opponent and keeping control of not only the offices they hold, but also the narrative and the slant they want to be published and or censored in the mainstream media and on social media. It's complete domination of the message and the way laws are enforced. Now, the second component of today's Big Take on how the left is hell-bent on having blatant disregard centers around science and specifically biology. Riley Gaines spoke at yesterday's Senate hearing on protecting pride, defending the civil rights of the LGBTQ plus Americans, and she was absolutely on fire in front of Congress. In addition to slamming the NCAA for allowing Leah Thomas to compete at championships in some very emotional testimony, she completely body bags Democrats as Senator Josh Hawley asks her about what the left loves to do best and how they love to smear and label you for not conforming to their thoughts and ideologies. Take a listen.
This has been your experience over and over and over. You're told as a woman to shut up, don't say anything. What's that like?
That is continually happening. And if we do speak up, you're immediately labeled as some name. They will call you everything under the sun, whether it's transphobic, homophobic, racists, white supremacists, domestic terrorists. They will throw them all at you in hopes to deter you, in hopes to silence you. Leah Thomas's teammates, they were forced every single week to go to mandatory LGBTQ education meetings to learn about how just by being cisgender, they were oppressing Leah Thomas. They were told that they're not allowed to take a stance because their school has already taken their stance for them. They were told that you will never get a job, you will never get into grad school, you will lose your friends, you will lose your scholarship and playing time if you speak out. They told these girls that if you do speak out, and any harm whatsoever comes towards Thomas's way, whether that's through social media, whether that's physical, mental, emotional harm, then you are solely responsible, and you could be responsible for a potential death. And you don't want that, do you? Of course not. Who would ever want to be responsible in a potential death? But that is the emotional blackmail that is plaguing this country, especially in universities.
So now the cisgender community are the oppressors of society, according to that logic. But good for her, because I think Riley Gaines speaks for not only most female athletes, not only most women, but most Americans. Now take a listen to Riley Gaines crushing Kelly Robinson. She's a human rights campaign president, as they get into a debate that involves one of my favorite senators, John Kennedy from Louisiana.
Women and some that are shorter. You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Ms. Johnson, Riley Gaines just said you are dismissed. Anybody else with stupid theories that I can debunk on the fly right now? And since the left is hell-bent on having biological males be included in biological female sporting events, I want you to ask them this question, to which they will have no answer for. If there are 12, 13, or 14 genders, as you claim, why is it that when you have gender-affirming surgery, there's only two options for your desired surgical outcome, male and female? I'll wait for that answer. Take your time. Because there's nothing going on here but facts versus feelings. And that's because there's only men and women, and there's nothing in between. And the left knows that. They just disregard biology when it comes to feelings, which proves that this is a mental health breakdown and a mental health crisis. The left will also demand that you trust the science when clowns like Peter Hotez get on TV and tell you to roll up your sleeve and protect your community and your loved ones. The left will do whatever it takes to achieve their mission, whether it's political, with election season upon us, as we saw Hunter Biden getting a sweetheart deal, as well as how Donald Trump has been held to a much higher threshold over classified documents compared to other presidents of the past and other vice presidents of the past. Or as we just saw and heard with John Durham and our weaponized DOJ that refuses to act when the Democrat has something to gain from it. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
Big take this morning. If you'd like to jump in on the conversation, your thoughts, your reaction, certainly welcome to 855-839-1210. The phone number on Twitter and Instagram at 1210WPHT. And, of course, you can be a part of the show on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe button and have your voice heard in the Kayal and Company comment community. We'll come back, get some thoughts and reaction to that, as well as Adam Schiff gets censored. And did Joe Biden just obliterate any repairs done by Anthony Blinken? We'll get to those stories as we continue here in the 6 o'clock hour. Kayal and Company, good to have you in on this Thursday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, this is Pastor Devlin, frequent guest on Dawn, Dom, and Rich. I'm inviting you to the March for Life, Saturday, June 24th at 9 a.m. We'll gather at the Cathedral Basilica there in Logan Circle, and we're also having the largest baby shower in Philadelphia. Bring your new items for babies and young moms, and we'll see you Saturday, June 24th, 9 a.m. at the Cathedral for the March for Life and Philadelphia's largest baby shower. For further info, prolifeunion.org.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Water quality continues to be a topic. Ensure your family is drinking clean, pure water with the Connecticut water system from Martin Water Conditioning. The Connecticut system removes all the impurities from your water. What comes out of the tap is crystal clear, all natural, delicious water. Put the Martin Water Conditioning family's passion for water to work for you. Do what I did. Contact Martin Water Conditioning. Mention DOM 2023 to receive an exclusive offer. DOM 2023. Visit martinwater.com. martinwater.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Oxygen is running low on the missing submersible in the Atlantic Ocean. A series of bills that would alter Pennsylvania's medical marijuana laws passed committee with bipartisan support. And Governor Shapiro says temporary lanes on I-95 in Northeast Philly will be completed by this weekend.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Hey, Philly, you know what's almost as important as our team winning? Having a sweet ride to get you to all those tailgates and watch parties. Luckily, the Busch Auto Group has you covered. Shop a wide selection of new Infinitis with rates as low as 2.9% on select vehicles. Plus, they'll save you over $3,000 in bonus value to drive down the cost of vehicle ownership. That's like 4 hot dogs, 3 beers, and a parking spot down at the sports complex all rolled into one. Visit us in-store in Ardmore or Westchester, PA, or visit us online at bushautogroup.com.
Gerhardt's Freedom to Save July 4th sales event is going on now. And we're starting our summer savings celebration in sweet style. As far as package deals go, you're not going to find one more patriotically priced than this Samsung 4-piece stainless steel suite for $17.76. That's right, this Samsung full-size refrigerator, range, microwave, and dishwasher are only $17.76. Shop the July 4th sales event for these deals and more, only at Gerhardt's Appliances.
Your neighborhood Total Wine & More has big news. We've moved 2 doors down into a bigger, brighter, brand new store in the plaza at Cherry Hill. Our selection grew so big, we needed a bigger store. But our low prices and helpful guides are staying right where you like them. Have some fun learning in our brand new classroom and check out our expanded cigar humidor. With the lowest prices for over 30 years in the tri-state area, you'll always find what you love and love what you find at your new Total Wine in the plaza at Cherry Hill. Drink responsibly, B21.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You're invited to a private showing of the most important movie you'll see in retirement. The Baby Boomer Dilemma is a groundbreaking documentary from award-winning director Doug Orchard. Throughout the film, Nobel Prize winners, PhDs, and esteemed economists expose the cracks in the financial industry that have 401ks, IRAs, Social Security, and other retirement plans on the brink of collapse. After the movie, you'll receive an education that's unlike any other. Learn how to apply the solutions presented by these experts, which align with and validate our proprietary crash-proof retirement system, proven by over 5,000 consumers. Register for this complimentary screening at Springfield Country Club on June 28th, and let Crash-Proof Retirement provide you the crucial information you need to avoid the baby boomer dilemma that's on the horizon. Registration is required. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hey, Quakertown, tell your smart speaker play 1210 WPHT.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, everybody? 6:25 Thursday morning. It's Kayal and Company. Great to have all of you aboard. 855-839-1210. Nick Kayal, Dawn Stensland, Greg Stocker, Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo. Some good stuff coming up this morning. You'll hear more from Riley Gaines just dunking on everybody in her way. That's on the cut sheet at 7:45 with a handful of other good pieces of audio. And then coming up this morning at 9:30, a couple of individuals that I'm looking forward to chatting with Mark O'Connor and Stephanie Mack. They represent two portions of the Families Behind the Badge Children's Foundation, which, of course, is the big foundation involved with our bike ride coming up on the Bend to Shore bike ride, which I'll be doing on July 23rd. So, maybe they can sit here and give their instant prediction and reaction to seeing somebody like me try to ride a bike for 65 miles.
So I think this is the first year that Stephanie is going to ride, but Mark O'Connor has been riding I rode with him.
Okay.
So he's been riding since this thing started.
Gotcha.
And he finishes in like 2.5 hours. So I'm just
2.5 hours.
Yeah, he's like he's like an Iron Man.
Yeah, he'll be finishing as I hit like mile post 31.
Yeah.
If I make it that far.
He used to own, for those local here, he used to own the Irish pub here in Philadelphia, both of them.
Okay.
So he's been, he's been a friend to this radio station and to me for a long time. So I'm a huge Mark O'Connor fan, and I think he's going to try and, give you some pointers on how to finish this 65-mile bike.
I'm going to give you some advice, and then I'm going to embarrass you.
Exactly.
And I'm guessing the first-time rider, she'll probably embarrass me as well, too. So
I'm sure.
But it's all for a good cause,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. All right, so we'll get to Adam Schiff here in just a moment, as well as Joe Biden's big whoops. But, yesterday was interesting because you saw John Durham, and when you watched him a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was even a couple of months ago, when the Durham report came out, we finally got some closure and some, more confirmation that all of this was a hoax, all of this was nonsense, and it was vindication and validation for those on the right, for Republicans, for Trump supporters. But then I'm sitting there yesterday and I'm seeing some of these clips come across on social media of Durham speaking yesterday, and he goes on to say, and you heard it there in the big take, they never interviewed James Comey or McCabe or some of these other individuals that he didn't name by name in the clip that I played for you. So is this guy nothing more than a total hack? Was this just nothing more than, hey, let's just get this report out. It'll show that, of course, Trump is in the clear, but we're really never going to hold people's feet to the fire for this. He says, well, I wish they would have participated in the interview. Well, do you not have subpoena power? Is there no other way that you could have forced some of these individuals to speak? In many regards, it feels like they just kind of got the report out and then there was like no other consequences to come with it. Or there was no more public shaming or humiliation. I'm not sure if you guys had anything to make on the way, I keep saying Andrew McCabe for a second. Not Andrew. John Durham. McCabe's one of the guys that should have been able to speak. But it's like, again, it feels like while Republicans can sit here and kind of pat themselves on the back, I don't feel like we got our pound of flesh out of all of this. Because the left always seems to go for the kill shot, and then once the carcass is dead, they just keep pecking away at the flesh. I don't know. That's the way I heard Mr. Durham deliver that yesterday in front of the masses left me feeling like I'm a little unsatisfied this morning.
I tend to read between the lines, like even his facial expressions and practically rolling his eyes. I think that he felt like he did his job.
Right.
He put everything in the report. He essentially laid out the fact that there was no basis.
Right.
There were so many takeaways from this. There was no basis for Russia.
Nope.
Now we now know, right?
Complete fabrication.
I mean, but at the same time, imagine us reporting that. Mm-hmm. Imagine our demeanor. I mean, I would be like, oh my God. Right. Oh my goodness. This is a sin.
Yeah.
Like if you were being not reporting on it, but in essence, if you were being debriefed in Congress. But at the same time, I think he really thinks that a lot of these congressional members and this whole scene is a circus.
It is.
Right? And I read into it that he feels like this is all such a circus and that in fact he did his job.
Mm-hmm. Which I appreciate. and maybe he doesn't get emotional. Maybe he's got no vested interest like some of us do for sure. But it just felt to me like, and he even had a quote in a comment yesterday, something to the effect of, I can live with myself, and I answer to a higher guy, the Lord, and I just look my family in the face and I can say I did my job. And, maybe he's just that stoic of an individual, but it just felt like to me when you sit there and say that there was essentially more of the process that could have been completed, as in getting some of these other people to speak, it just left me yesterday wanting more. But you nail it, though, Dawn, with this being such a charade and a fiasco, because we saw last night in the dinner time hours, Adam Schiff gets censored by the House for his false allegations on the Trump-Russia collusion. Let me give you a couple of clips here from FoxNews.com. So the House of Representatives yesterday, they voted Wednesday to censor Adam Schiff, Democrat from California, total weasel.
Censure.
Total weasel. A vote that made Schiff just the third member of the House to be censured since the turn of the century. That's pretty significant, right? The resolution passes 213 to 209. Every Republican voted for it except for 6 who voted present. Every Democrat voted against it. Immediately following the vote, the Dems act like, they're on a Broadway production, and they gathered on the floor and started chanting shame and disgrace. And then, of course, we have Ilhan Omar, who, as we know, is a very pleasant individual, right? I mean, we know she's very open and inclusive, even though she hates Jewish people. She called Kevin McCarthy a spiteful coward and accusing him of weak leadership. And as this whole production and theatrics are going on, McCarthy told the Democrats last night, I have all night. I can sit here and I'll wait it out while you continue putting on your little, presentation. And, of course, they're talking about, and McCarthy and Republicans, all these falsehoods, these misrepresentations and abuses of sensitive information from that little weasel Adam Schiff. And my takeaway from all of this, and there's some really good audio, we'll try to get it for you in a little bit, where McCarthy is just like literally going through the process and he's being shouted. We do have it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the tape. Let's take it for you. This was last night, I believe about 5:45 in the evening.
By its adoption, House Resolution 521, the House has resolved that the House of Representatives censures Adam Schiff, representative of the 30th Congressional District of California, for misleading the American public and for conduct unbecoming of an elected member of the House of Representatives. The Representative Adam Schiff will forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. That Representative Adam Schiff will be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. And that the Committee on Ethics shall conduct an investigation into Representative Adam Schiff's falsehoods, misrepresentation, and abuse of sensitive information.
Here's my takeaway from all of that. I think Democrats typically take politics more personal. They get in their feelings more often, which is why I think the Dems, they do political theater better than Republicans. Other than, and I know this means very little. This censuring means very little. It's just a production. It's just political theater. But there's one thing I do take away from this that I appreciate. Other than, telling Republican voters, hey, we can do this as well. I think we're starting to see a level of fight and combativeness from the Republican Party and getting some results that maybe we haven't seen in a long time. And I'm not just talking about in that setting right there. I'm talking about the boycotting of Bud Light, the petitioning and the boycotting of Fox News for getting rid of Tucker Carlson. And then you have a moment like this, and ultimately it's going to come down to the end of the day, can you win elections? That's the Super Bowl. That's all that really, really matters. But I think you're starting to see, and I think coming out of the midterms, we said, Democrats just fight dirty. They don't care. They go for the kill shot. Now I think you're starting to see some level of, hey, we can do this as well. Do you get that feeling?
Yeah, I think there's no account. My feeling about this swamp is that the Republicans, to some extent, are complicit. I mean, they think about the fact that there was a provision there that could have fined Schiff $16 million if the House Ethics Committee actually determined that he lied. We know he lied.
Yes.
Remember that performance? I mean, we played it on our air at the time when that story happened, and I'll never forget it because he was like trying to, hey, you see, you got this, he had this, like, I don't know, James Cagney, weird kind of a delivery, and he was like, what was he, a thespian? He was such a liar.
Yeah.
All of them, they lied to us.
Yes.
They manipulated us in ways they should be in jail.
Yep.
And so the fact that in some Republicans who, as you mentioned, Nick Kayal, I mean, when they voted along party lines, 213 to 209, some members voting present.
Mm-hmm.
So not only did they remove any teeth from this, right? So he basically got a spanking machine that's an air spanking machine. It's not even a real, but there are no teeth to it. They can't sue him. They can't fine him, which he should have to pay.
He got off lighter than Hunter Biden.
Right. And where's the jail time? Where's the punishment?
Right.
And so we see this more and more. So to me, I say, well, why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't he be fired? You're fired. If any of us did that, can you imagine within a company we'd be fired?
Right.
We would be then taken to task, criminal charges.
Mm-hmm.
He's allowed to stand up there and act like that and do that theater and lie for years and manipulate the entire nation and make a mockery of the process and of Congress, and he doesn't even get a $1 fine.
I mean, there are some of the squad Dems that I can't stand, and then there's Adam Schiff, and he really I see his face, I hear his voice, and I try not to make it personal, and I don't wish any ill will on the guy or anything like that. But God Almighty, every time I hear that name Schiff, I just think the first word that comes to my mind, weasel. He's a weasel, and I'm cleaning that up. I'm saying it respectfully on the air. There's many other words I could use for that guy, but he is the epitome of a little weasel. So I just figured we would get to that. And then lastly, how about this? And this is where Joe, now this is the difference in Trump and Biden. So Trump, I would have no concern if Trump called Chairman Xi a dictator. I have no concern if Trump makes a derogatory term at Vladimir Putin, because I don't think anybody in these other nations ever wanted to really challenge Trump when Trump was at the helm of the United States of America. But it worries me when Joe makes a comment like this, and we'll tell you why. So President Joe Biden called Chinese President Chairman Xi Jinping a dictator on Wednesday, sparking an angry reaction from Beijing in a sudden flare-up after talks between the two superpowers aimed at easing their geopolitical animosity came to a close. As we know, just a few days ago, Anthony Blinken was over there in China with Xi. We saw the video. We saw them shake hands and kind of have like 6 feet of separation or social distancing. And it looked very awkward, right? And everybody is talking about the tensions between the United States and China. They're starting to escalate. And I don't know if Blinken was able to smooth things over and polish things off and, repair whatever fractured relationship China and the United States has. But whatever he did, let's say he made a ounce of progress in repairing our relationship. Joe just completely obliterated it by calling Chairman Xi Jinping a dictator. Speaking at a fundraiser in California with, oh, by the way, Gavin Newsom at his side, he suggested that Xi was embarrassed because he did not know about the alleged Chinese spy balloon flying over the United States earlier this year, despite his status as China's all-powerful leader. China quickly hit back at the remarks made by Joe Biden, calling them extremely absurd and irresponsible. The president's description of Xi came one day after this high-level visit by Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, an effort to calm the tensions. And people were saying that this chapter with the spy balloon should now be closed. Both sides have pledged to try and stabilize their relationship. Biden, however, completely nukes that. Quote, the reason why Xi Jinping got very upset in terms of when I shot that balloon down with 2 boxcars full of supply equipment is he didn't know it was there. That's a great embarrassment for dictators, he added, when they didn't know what happened. So China gets wind of this, and their spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mao Ning, said that Biden's comments were, quote, extremely absurd and irresponsible, seriously contradicting basic facts, and he seriously has violated diplomatic protocol and seriously infringes on China's political dignity, which is an open political provocation. China telling the Daily Briefing that they are strongly dissatisfied with what has transpired. I don't know about you, but we keep hearing about all these escalating tensions, the United States and China. We know what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Oh, by the way, how about yesterday? I think it was an additional $1.3 billion on top of the $6.2 billion accounting error from 2 days ago. So, it's $7 billion, $8 billion, $9 billion. Nobody really knows. Nobody knows the exact number or how this is being handled from a paperwork standpoint, but they're just dumping money into this proxy war. The last thing I really need is Joe Biden, and he's not wrong when he says it. We know Xi Jinping, he's a dictator. He's an evil dude. I get all that. But I don't need 81-year-old Joe Biden sending over his cronies to smooth things over and then opening up his yap and then basically reversing course on any progress that is made. Like, we already know that China owns us in many capacities. And here's Joe, and this is why they don't let him out. This is why they don't let him talk, right? Or go off prompter. So,
the joke is, to me, whenever I hear any rhetoric about China and they're the enemy and they're the blah, 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 they make, dude, first of all, we have borrowed so much money from China. We owe them so much money that we have to do business with them. Mm-hmm. They produce 90% of the chemical ingredients for our essential medicine. So, hey, if you're listening right now and you think, oh, that evil China, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, your blood pressure medicine that you need, we can't make it without them. They produce the pharmaceuticals. They not just the Nike gym shoes. Look at what we rely on China for,
right?
As far as manufacturing, but your medicine. So if you think they're evil and they're communists or whatever, then why are we getting, for example, the gluten, the ships of gluten, right? Every once in a while, a gluten ship, and I'm thinking, a gluten ship. When I first covered that, I thought, what? So we get our gluten, we get our food, byproducts from China. We get look it up, and there's there are all these congressional hearings. It never makes the light of day.
Yep.
So if we want to say, well, this is a dictator and these guys are communists or they're our enemy, and for any world leader to stand up there with a straight face and say they're our enemy, then why do you allow them to make our medicine that millions of Americans, that you swallow every single day? You're swallowing that.
Yep.
So if you don't trust them, why are we doing business with them?
It's a great point. And people can sit there and they all have their answers, all have their theories. And I think, we know why, but it's just embarrassing on so many fronts. And this administration they just bend the knee for China all the time.
Thank you.
And it's just so embarrassing.
Probably my buddy boy who had the surgery, and thank you for the nice note, Nick.
You're welcome. How'd it go? Is he good?
Oh, it's bad. We had 2 hours sleep. I'd rather have surgery on myself. Now, I've never had a major surgery, but I'd rather have surgery myself than have it, for your dog. And they look at you with those eyes. And like, oh, what did you do?
Yeah.
But probably the pain meds that we're giving him probably came from China.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what made me think of it.
855-839-1210, the phone number. All right, we will come back. The Titanic submersible, this submarine and the individuals on it could very well be down to their final hours, sadly. But
7 o'clock, I think, in 15 minutes, they're supposed to run out of oxygen.
They're down to their final 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Their last quarter hour.
Gosh. Would you stop it? Can you imagine just imagine this, if you're with Nick Kayal and you're in that submarine and he's like, away we go.
And away we go. 13,000 feet below the sea.
Because you'd probably still be high energy.
Yes.
We have 14 minutes of oxygen left, really?
Imagine spending your last 14 minutes with me.
Well, you'd probably make us laugh.
That would be a hell of a way to go. I would just pull out
I'll
my pistol and just end it right there.
Oh
I've
my
had enough. All right, so we'll get to that story and just some unbelievable odds. And there's a local angle to this story as well, so we will touch on that when we come back. Kayal and Company live here on this Thursday morning on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. But first, let me tell you about the good folks at the Piazza Auto Group. Finally have my truck, wanted the truck for the last 2 or 3 years, and the lease was completed actually a month ago today. 2023 Honda Ridgeline, courtesy of Piazza Honda in Springfield. And I'm absolutely loving it. The Black Edition comes completely loaded, but right now the finances, the money aspect, this is a great deal. You can have a great opportunity to cash in on 0.9% financing for 36 months, but it's only good through July 5th, and we are closing in on 4th of July and that weekend coming up very soon. The Honda Ridgeline, a 280 horsepower V6 engine capable of towing up to 5,000 pounds. Tell me a minivan that can do that. It comes with an IVTM 4 all-wheel drive that works with intelligent traction management, which includes 3 unique modes for tackling snow, sand, and mud. It can go off-roading. It can do so many different things. Also comes with the available Honda Satellite Link navigation system, a truck bed audio system where you can play music while you're outdoors tailgating, and it comes right through a huge speaker on the bed of the truck. You won't even hear it on the inside of the truck if you're sitting in the passenger seat. And once again, 0.9% APR for 36 months. But hurry, that will end on July 5th. If you're a truck person like me, now's the time to visit Piazza Honda in Springfield, Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading. Piazza Auto Group now with 17 brands and 35 locations. It's my go-to for all things automotive, and you can find your newer certified pre-owned vehicle today by visiting piazzaautogroup.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. I want to tell you about my friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz of the Bentz Group in East Norriton. I've always enjoyed talking to his staff and patients, and it drives home a big point. Dr. Bentz is a problem solver. People come from all over. Other dentists refer their tougher cases to Dr. Bentz. Whatever your issues are, Dr. Bentz is going to develop a custom plan for your long-term oral health. And yes, give you that smile you've always dreamed of. Plus, if you or a family member have been avoiding going to the dentist due to fear or anxiety, even if it's been years, Dr. Bentz offers sedation dentistry to make your visit a pleasant experience. So if you've been putting off a nagging minor problem, take care of it now before it gets worse. From routine care to dental implants, on-site digital lab, great staff, they'll make the visit the most comfortable and convenient possible. Get the oral care you need and deserve and that beautiful smile that you've always wanted. Visit thebentzdentalgroup.com. Book that appointment today, bentzdentalgroup.com or 610-272-6949.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
Kayal and Company, it is 6:50 here on a Thursday morning. Welcome back in. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Greg, Dawn, Daniel, and Anthony. So we could very well be coming down the stretch here, the final minutes perhaps, of all of those people tragically on that missing submersible as they made that little excursion and voyage to go down very deep. I believe when we've been given the feet, roughly 13,000 feet. I think it equates to about 2.4 miles below the surface of the ocean, which, you know, if you think about that, I mean, just imagine driving 2 miles. Now you're getting one of those little submersibles and you got to go down that far slowly. And this whole tragic story kind of playing out in real time across news, television, talk radio. And this has been probably the biggest story nationwide, maybe even around the globe for the last couple of days. And, you know, there's a local angle to this, and then also a coincidence, how is this possible? What are the odds of that happening? Let's start with the local angle. Shahzada Dawood, a Philadelphia University graduate, and his son are amongst the missing Titanic submarine group. I mean, Dawn, you always like to look for the local angle. And, you know, sadly, there is a local angle to this story as Shahzada Dawood, 48, and his son, Sulman, 19, traveled on Titan, the submarine or submersible that went missing on Sunday on its way to view the Titanic wreckage. Their family confirming in a statement they are amongst the group of 5 people aboard this missing, submarine right now. Shahzada's online biography says he earned his Master of Science degree in global textile marketing from the school, as reported by 6ABC, while his LinkedIn page says that he graduated in 2000. The Daywoods are a prominent Pakistani business family participating in one of OceanGate's Titanic voyages, which, as we've told you, cost $250,000 per passenger to take part in this. The Dawood family business, Dawood Hercules Corporation, is a large corporation led by Shahzada's father with a portfolio ranging from energy and agriculture to IT, according to its website. Shahzada is also the vice chairman of Engro, a Pakistani power and energy corporation. And the company saying in a statement, "We at Engro remain in prayer for their swift and safe return."
And Philadelphia University, remember they combined, what was it, about 6 or so, 5 or 6 years ago? They combined with Jefferson University. So if somebody's newer to Philadelphia and they're like, where's Philadelphia University? They combined with Jefferson. But no, and you think about it, because I have teenagers. So you think of, you're that parent and you're down there and you're thinking, you're blaming yourself. And you're thinking, why in God's name would I bring my teenage son? They probably were looking forward to this. Others have done it. It sounded cool.
Yep.
Not that I would do it.
No.
Apparently, though, they knew the risks in getting into this. There's all kinds of, obviously you never expect this, but the waivers, we played that clip yesterday, the waivers, like there's 3 mentions of the word death on the first page.
Yeah.
So, and everybody who gets into this knows that it's this is a risky thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it happens, you're like, oh boy, I didn't realize this would happen.
It's kind of similar in a way to when, and I would never do this either, when you parachute or you jump out of a plane and you got to fill out all that paperwork and God forbid the parachute doesn't open or whatever. I mean, I am incredibly risk averse. Like, I don't do these types of I don't know if this is a thrill, if this is a bucket list item, whatever it is, but you get me. I mean, like I said, I'll fly commercial, but you're not getting a little helicopter. I'll go on a boat, but you're not getting me to go scuba diving. Like I draw the line. I am very boring when it comes to these types of things.
So we can officially say that in 5 minutes, the air runs out from them. Like that's
right.
Wow.
Well, I mean, hopefully they're listening on the Odyssey app right now, and we get credit for it. But
yeah, what if they're? I don't know. Yeah, what if they're? You hope for some miracle.
It's terrible,
right?
Yeah.
You hope.
Well, I mean, even when this happened, they said they had like a 1% chance of finding them.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I heard a guy say they're basically looking for something the size of a rock.
Yes. So you're sitting there saying, okay, well, how hard could it be with our technology? And then you think about, all right, well, it's over 2.4 miles down. It's incredibly dark. It's incredibly cold. The pressure down there is ridiculous. And you're talking about, think about that, something the size of a rock floating around at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, right? And you say, well, it would just zero in or around the wreckage of the Titanic. It can't be that. And, can't find them.
But, okay, a couple of things. First of all, the story that even if it surfaced, because it has these floaty things that engage, and supposedly if anything goes wrong, it's supposed to pop it up to the surface. But then we reported on this, that they have that hatch. You can't open it from the inside, so that you would be floating in the ocean and trapped. The other story was if they lost power, they would be breathing in their own carbon dioxide.
Yeah. Cool.
And so how do they? There are ways to try to mitigate that, but then the hypothermia, and then there were others who said this thing probably imploded already.
Yeah,
well,
I could see that happening.
The New Republic is already making this political, as I'm sure you can imagine. The CEO of this Ocean Gate has donated to Republicans.
Those deplorables.
So exactly, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, it really matters.
That is an article right now on the New Republic about how the CEO is a GOP donor.
According to a doctor from the Cleveland Clinic, I got this text yesterday from our buddy Mike Opelka. With this situation with these people running out of air, the doctor told Stunt Brain that the brain hogs all of the remaining oxygen.
Cool.
And what happens is you end up starving the muscles and organs in your body, and it's reportedly awful and painful.
Yeah.
So it's like the brain gets greedy and wants all the oxygen, and then it basically tortures you from the head down.
Yeah, Mary Walter, who was filling in for you yesterday, Dawn,
thank you, Mary.
said
Mary Taylor.
You just go to sleep. I'm like, yeah, no, that's absolutely not what happens when you're suffocating.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Navy Prepper on YouTube. By the way, streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. If you're watching now, please hit the like button. Also, please subscribe. Navy Prepper says they were dead 4 days ago. I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with
because
that.
you're in a panic situation.
Yeah,
those hours of air were just estimates. They've already said that when you're in a situation like this, you use air up more quickly. Plus, we actually don't know what happened. We don't know if if it stalled out, if it couldn't get back up, if it went. You know what I mean? It could have gotten eaten by a whale.
That was my theory yesterday.
Eaten by a whale?
Well, not a whale, but some big sea creature.
Maybe like a biblical story here?
Yeah, like Noah and the whale.
Like a big squid or something?
Jonah and the whale.
Yeah.
Tim and the whale. I don't know. I don't know.
No, but, and then there's part, and I know you're going to get to the Titanic, the history of it, but just real quick I'll say, because Vivek Ramaswamy was in Kensington. We reported on that a lot this week. And Kensington, unfortunately, is that place where instead of going to the Liberty Bell, politicians go to Kensington now, which is horrible for us because we love Philadelphia. It's horrible to think of, but I couldn't help but compare it and say, imagine if all the people in the world focusing on these, handful of people it seems to be a tragic situation. But imagine if we gave this much energy and this much focus to solving the problem in Kensington, where I mean, how many people die a day in Kensington? How many people are dying in crisis?
Right.
They're in crisis.
Yep.
And so it's what we choose to focus on and fantasize about. And I don't know, somewhere in there, this week I was saying a prayer for, the people there, but then I thought, you know what? I should be focusing on something that we can solve.
Yes. And I think Vivek will also be doing a press conference today from the bottom of the Titanic.
Stop.
The Titanic, they booked him for
Stop.
3:40 today.
You stop it.
I'm telling you, there's no interview he won't turn down. 855-839-1210. We'll give you the crazy odds of something happening with the Titanic and this submersible on the other side. But let me grab this call quickly as we wrap up the first hour. Ted's in Swarthmore. He wants to talk about I-95. Ted, you go right ahead, sir.
Hey, Nick and Dawn, and I just wanted to touch base on what Dawn said about the Blue Route. It took a lot longer than 20 years. Originally, the Blue Route was supposed to run from 291 to the Turnpike, and 95 wasn't even begun when the Blue Route was designed. They finished the Blue Route, they finished 95 from Maine to Florida before the Blue Route was ever completed. Thanks to the people of Swarthmore.
Good stuff, Ted. But think about that. From Maine to Florida, you can finish something before you can finish the Blue Route. Just think about that from a geography standpoint.
And then just when they finished it, they had to expand it and redo it.
Exactly right. All right, hour 2 is on the way. Dawn will have some news.
It's underway.
Well, it is underway. It'll continue when we come back here on a Thursday morning. It's Kayal and Company, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
In Wildwood, Thursday, June 22nd is Dom's Giordano Day, and we're celebrating with Dom live from Mulligan Shore Bar and Grill. 310 West Hildreth Avenue. Come down the shore and join the fun. It's the 4th annual Dom Giordano Day live broadcast in Wildwood. Today from noon till 3 at Mulligan Shore Bar and Grill. Only on Talk Radio 1210 and the free Odyssey app.
Hurts gives it off and keeps it and rolls down to the 2. And is he in? Yes! He let it go and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Josh Sweat. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Josh Sweat. Deep down the far side, and it is A.J. Brown again. Another touchdown. He steps up. He's hit. He fumbles the football, but I think he has it. Nope. Now the Eagles have it. That'll be the game. He breaks away at the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Miles Sanders, touchdown. Wow. He is firing the football, and it is caught by DeVonta Smith. Great catch. Attention, air traffic control. A flock of Eagles is heading to Arizona.
Ah, sweet memories. Last season was so much fun, and I believe this season will be even better. If you want your business to be part of this season's Eagles Radio Network highlight reel, email advertise@94wip.com for information. More great action is quickly approaching.
Phillies baseball is in full swing.
It's a 3-run home run for Alec Bohm.
And a 6 RBI night. With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
The ball bobbled. The Phillies win. Bryson Stott has won it.
Phillies baseball. Phillies announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This baking summer heat is definitely hard on your home. Call PJ Fitzpatrick to fix the small problems before they become big ones. PJ will come to your home with a complete shop in their truck, and they can fix it all same day. Leaky windows, overflowing gutters, rotted trim, and damaged roofs. Call the home repair experts at PJ Fitzpatrick. No job too big or too small. Visit them at trustpj.com. They'll fix it right the first time. Visit trustpj.com and stay off the ladders. That's trustpj.com.
The year is nearly half over, and you're still dealing with that knee or hip pain. Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics right now. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without that chronic joint pain. And you can do all those summer activities that you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your your own body so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. Patients across America are having life-changing results. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. If you're suffering with joint pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulders, you need to stop what you're doing. Call QC Kinetics now. Get a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call now, 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Calling a media PA to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
.05 Thursday morning. It's hour 2 of Kayal and Company as we continue. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, live on the free Odyssey app. Stream us, watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. How long has it been since CNN has fact-checked Joe Biden? We've got that answer coming up in a little bit. Also, Colin Kaepernick says capitalism is racist. Okay. I'll hear him out on that one, and then I'll destroy him. Cut sheet at 7:45, and also some more Titanic talk in just a moment. But it's 7:06. Let's get the news. Here's Dawn Stensland with round number 2.
And good morning. This edition of Kayal and Company News Live, sponsored this morning by Piazza Premium Automobiles on this unusually cool June morning. We're officially in the heat of summer, but very cool this morning. Full forecast in just a moment. So beginning with, the paving is underway of I-95, and it looks like we're ahead of schedule. Woo! This is the talk of the town in Philadelphia as crews have been working around the clock to repair this damaged section of I-95. And we've debated a lot about when it would reopen. Of course, this all began with a tragic fire, a fatal fire, and then the collapse, the literal melting of this stretch of highway about the size of a football field. What will it cost? The estimated cost, nearly $30 million. But the big story is that Saturday or Sunday, as these crews finish the paving, we could see I-95, this portion that's been shut down and has caused a real nightmare and delays for so many, more than 1 million commuters weekly. This could reopen Saturday or Sunday. We're told that whether it's Saturday or actually Sunday is dependent on the weather conditions and how quickly the asphalt can cure.
Let's say this opens up Saturday at 2 p.m. I will give it until 2:05 p.m. on Saturday afternoon before the mainstream media starts to ask the question, when is Josh Shapiro going to run for president of the United States of America? It's coming.
Yeah, that op-ed will be written in the Inquirer by Tuesday
and
of next week.
Fetterman as his running mate.
Yeah.
Not a chance on that one. Right? I'll take you to King of Prussia Mall, where they have seen, we've seen an uptick in shoplifting across America. We've talked a lot about this. But Upper Marion Police, they are releasing new surveillance images of a team of shoplifters, and they are saying this was a planned event. This was not just a spontaneous shoplifting situation where the shoplifters got away with $10,000 worth of sunglasses. And they're cracking down, according to police, putting this out there, and as well a message for these shoplifters that you will be arrested, you'll be caught, you'll be arrested, you'll be convicted.
Oh.
So there's a real crackdown here because the fear, of course, is that, well, A, it'll force the shutdown of stores, but also we all pay.
I thought the crackdown would be on the employees that try to stop these people from shoplifting.
I don't think that's the case in this one. That's to your point.
Good.
That's the different case here. And so police releasing these new surveillance images. 3 people can be seen in this, case where they're getting away with, it was Sunglass Hut stores inside KOP Mall. And they're saying, no, we are cracking down on these shoplifters. And this would be a felony, more than 10 grand worth of items. But this was not spontaneous. It was not just one individual. And they have the vehicle. It was a Nissan Maxima Silver. So they're trying to get the images of that pulling away. And so they're saying this was not just a spontaneous situation. It was planned, and we are cracking down on these kinds of shoplifters that are more frequently attacking KOP.
KOP says we believe in law and order.
Yeah.
All right.
So we've talked a lot about the small craft named Titan, owned by undersea exploration company OceanGate Expeditions. And we, of course, like the rest of the world, chronicling the Titan, the fate of these 5 people on board, and we'll continue to do so. But 7:10 a.m., everybody at the networks, everybody, is looking at this saying, by all accounts, they've run out of oxygen. That's just an estimate, but I'll just put that out there. And we've talked about the censuring of California Representative Adam Schiff, as well as the fact that he is up for re-election. We've talked a lot about that. I'll just highlight those quick points. Phillies, because of all the rain yesterday, this cool weather, this rain, our Phils, the game, they waited it out until what, into the 9 o'clock hour?
I believe so.
Yeah, 2-hour rain delay they waited for.
So then finally called it. So it's called off. Today, 1:05, we face off with the Braves, obviously, hosting at home. So where's the makeup game? It's September 11th. There will be a doubleheader.
A doubleheader on 9/11.
I know.
Oh, wow. Okay. Could very well be meaningful, too, at that point, between these two teams as we get towards the end of the season.
That's a very
good point. Good point.
They're 9 games behind the Braves right now.
I saw a lot of people complaining on last night that the game should have been called much sooner, and people accusing the Phillies of once again delaying this and bringing this through in order to drive up additional money by getting people into the stadium, concessions, beers, and things like that. I'd love to know what the thought process is behind decisions like that. Is it more than just what the Doppler and the radar says? Is it, hey, we can squeeze out a couple more Budweisers for $12 a pop?
Yeah, but if you have tickets and you've planned it, I think.
Well, I think those were people that had tickets that were complaining about it.
I know, but you say you could have called it earlier, but I think they try to do due diligence, and they're looking at the forecast, and they're saying, we're looking at the radar, and it looks like it's gonna clear out enough that we can play.
Yeah, just as long as it clears out Saturday for my golf round. That's all. That's all I care about.
I don't know. The storms are moving through this area for whatever reason. The meteorologists always say it's highly unpredictable.
Well, I looked at the forecast for the next 10 days. It looks like the same forecast every day, like 81 with like a 45% chance of a scattered storm.
Yes.
Like through July 4th. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. It's my vacation week.
Well.
Yes.
Well, Mother Nature, are you listening?
I need 90 and sunny for that week.
Well, we are sponsored. I know you also need Piazza, as we all do. Piazza Premium Automobiles. Have exceptional style every single day with the all-new Maserati Grecale or MC20, available for immediate delivery from Maserati of Wilmington Pike in Chadds Ford. Stop by for a test drive or shop online at MaseratiofWilmingtonPike.com. Thank you, Piazza Premium Automobiles, for sponsoring our news. Real quick, the forecast, NBC 10, since Nick brought this up, I know you're not going to like this. We're at 60 degrees right now, so we're dropping.
Yeah.
We're dropping. We're supposed to, the high today is supposed to be 66, but it feels like it's 58. It's cloudy, cool. Well, I think it's 25. Not just 20. I said earlier 20. I think it's 25 degrees below what is normal.
Wow.
So, yeah, just this raw day. The spattering of the rain is supposed to give out. And then we pop back up to the 80s for the rest of the week. But just like Nick said, every single day there's this chance that it's like that Florida weather in summer.
Yep.
Right, where there's a chance for the showers or what have you. So you got to just watch it very carefully. But that's the NBC 10 First Alert Forecast, Kayal & Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 7:13 on this Thursday morning. So 2 last little stories here on the Titanic that everybody's infatuated with. The wife of the missing sub pilot, Stockton Rush, descended from Isidore and Ida Strauss, who were first-class passengers who died on the Titanic.
Wow.
What are the odds of this happening?
Well, I mean, if you're going down there to look at the Titanic, it might be cool to know that your ancestors were You know what I mean? Like that's probably their
driving
reasoning
force
for going down there is to know that your ancestors perished on there.
This is remarkable. So here's this is the details from the New York Post. The wife of Stockton Rush, the Ocean Gate CEO, who was at the helm of the Titanic-bound submersible when it vanished on Sunday, is descended from 2 wealthy first-class passengers who died when the ship sank in 1912, according to a report. Wendy Rush is the great-great-granddaughter of Isidore Straus, who co-founded Macy's department store, and Ida Straus, who were among the wealthiest people aboard the Titanic's ill-fated transatlantic voyage, according to archived records obtained by the New York Times. The Strausses are remembered for their moving display of love as the ocean liner infamously sank in the North Atlantic after hitting an iceberg, a disaster that claimed the lives of more than 1,500 people. Survivors reported seeing Ida Straus refuse a spot on a lifeboat as crews tried to save as many women and children on board as possible. Now, if you recall, if you watch James Cameron's The Titanic movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, when the Titanic hit the iceberg and they started unloading people, it was women, it was children. Men were the last to get an opportunity to get on one of those boats. And Kate Winslet's husband is like trying to weasel his way on, and eventually he can't find Kate Winslet, and I think ultimately he ends up killing himself after the movie's over in real life. But the men were the last to get on board, which I got to tell you, if my wife and kids are already on there, and they're on a little boat to be taken care of, and it's me and a bunch of other dudes, and I know my kids and wife are safe, I'm being selfish. I'm going to be like that guy. I'm weaseling my way onto one of those little lifeboats.
I'll grow my hair long.
Yeah, I'll put on a
some
fake
lipstick.
mustache.
Yep.
Oh, you would identify as a woman?
I would.
That is a moment. That is a moment where I will have a trans moment, and I will identify as a female.
Can you imagine if they did that today? All the confusion that would
Oh, that's right.
In all seriousness,
right?
Everybody I identify.
Yes.
Like, how would they? How would they tell?
What if you were a biological? What if you were Leah Thomas, and you were? No, that would be the reverse order. No, what if you were like reverse Leah Thomas? You were born a girl. You had a transition to become a man.
Yeah.
And you wanted to be. Hey, I'm a man now. Damn biology. I am a man. You will call me he/him. And then you're on a boat that's sinking, and they only take women. Well, then, I mean, you can't have the procedure on the fly, but what if you just say, hey, I used to be a female, so now I actually want to re-identify as a female to save my life and give myself another crack at life?
Yeah.
But think about what a different time it was.
Yes.
And that men were allowed to be, sacrificing like that. And we're allowed to be men.
Back when men had chivalry and manners.
Well, I mean, we just admitted, you and I, Nick, just admitted that we'd make sure our families got on there and got the hell off there ourselves.
Yes.
Well, the truth is you don't know what you would do in that situation.
No, I know what I would do, and that's what I would do. I mean, I'm not...
I'm fighting with
This
people.
show's about honesty. I'm being honest.
But the Billy Zane character was like throwing...
That's who it was, Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which he was so hot in that movie. I'm like, why is she going for Leo? It was like a boy.
All right, so Dawn likes Billy Zane, and I like Kate Winslet.
But I just think that that movie, would that even age well now? If you look at it.
Right.
I don't even know if that would be politically correct.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
What?
No, I'm just thinking about women and children first. And, you'll have people who identify as babies, that have the bonnets on, and they're like, "What? Hello, everybody! I identify as a baby." Yeah, exactly. You'll have people dressed up as women saying, "Hey, look, I identify as a woman."
Yes.
The whole thing would be confusing.
And you're going to have somebody who's non-binary saying this.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And they go down in the water.
Think about why the American people love the people of Ukraine. Look at what Ukraine has done. They got all the women and children out or to safety, and the men were fighting to go back into the country and fight for their country.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason that in America today, we as Americans, the majority, look at Ukraine and go, look at these people.
Yeah.
I mean, they've held off Russia. I know they've had a lot of help from us, but still, the resilience of the Ukrainian people, I mean, I feel like that's who we were as a nation.
Yeah,
now
but
we're a bunch of wusses.
I think your resilience all of a sudden gets a boost of testosterone when you keep getting billions of dollars handed to you,
but
right?
the people aren't getting
No,
that.
I know, of course not.
That's the sin of it.
Yeah, some people were like, "Oh, you guys I can't believe you're taking this Titanic thing so humorously." It's not us.
No.
It's actually somebody that has a family relative on this submersible that doesn't really seem to care. Here's the last story. How about this one? This is from TMZ. So, Titanic rescue Brit billionaire passenger's stepson attends a Blink-182 show during the rescue mission. That's the headline on TMZ.
Was it like a fundraiser? For,
I don't think so.
Oh my goodness!
I think it's just, hey, I like Blink-182, and I've got a relative on there, but you know what? Life goes on, I guess. So, British billionaire explorer Hamish Harding is among those on board the Ocean Gate Expedition's Titan, the submersible. Well, Harding's stepson, Brian Sazaz.
No, it's a stepson, so.
Yeah, it's his stepson.
He doesn't care that much.
He doesn't really care. He probably hates the guy's guts.
Exactly.
Posted about Harding's disappearance on Facebook on Monday, writing that Hamish, my stepdad, is lost in a submarine.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts and prayers that the rescue mission will be successful. And then just a few minutes after posting about the rescue mission, he revealed he was attending a Blink-182 show in San Diego, posting a picture of himself outside the venue. Like, hey, my mom remarried. She remarried Hamish, my stepdad. He's kind of a jerk, and he's on the submersible. But you know what? I was a huge Blink-182 fan back in 2001, and they only come to San Diego every so often.
Son, your family only has 5 hours of air left. What's that? What's that? I'm sorry. Hang on. Blink-182's playing. I can't hear you. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll post something on Facebook. Thanks. Got to get back to this.
What's Hamish's age again? I'm not sure. But
well, he said, didn't he post something to the effect of, like, this is what my stepfather would have wanted?
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
My stepdad abused me. Let him rot.
Stop.
So
no, if I'm ever dying in a sub, make sure you go to that Blink-182 concert. I would want you to.
Only if we get free tickets here at Odyssey. Well, Chris in Jersey wants you to start playing more of the Titanic theme song when we talk about this story.
Oh no, that's not right. Come on, we're not making jokes.
No, of course not.
No, it's just weird. It's weird that they're going, and then you wonder what happened.
By the way, this kid also was tweeting with somebody, one of those OnlyFans models too.
Oh boy,
something to the effect of, something I can't say on the radio. So he's already counting the money.
Yeah. He's I got a lot going on in my life. Stepdad's gonna
he's spending his inheritance already.
Yeah. I'm seeing a concert. My stepdad's losing oxygen, and I'm messing around with OnlyFans models. Wow. Oh boy. We kid, folks. Don't be triggered. But if you are, you can rip Stalker in the YouTube comment section like that yesterday.
That's horrendous.
Yes.
No, there are some churches and synagogues and church services last night. I know where they were praying for the families and the wife, the Dawood family. The wife, I know, Christine. She had spoken out and thanked people for their prayers and for their well wishes.
Yeah.
But this is her only son. They have a daughter. And so this mom and daughter, you think of them right now this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It's brutal. I mean, some people are aware of the risk, and I'm Greg, you've said it. There was 3 mentions of possibility of death on the first page of the waiver. So clearly, you know that this is a risky thing that you sign up for. And oh, by the way, you got to have stupid money to do this. I mean, not many people can afford to spend $250,000 to get into a submarine.
Exactly.
I mean, this, for a lot of, and look, we all take risks every day. You get in a car, you take a risk. You never know what's going to happen. But, I mean, $250,000 with this risk to go down and see a ship that's been at the bottom of an ocean for 111 years.
Which, by the way, you can look at on YouTube right now.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a video somewhere
of
the Titanic wreckage that you can sit there and be like, yep, there it is. Cool.
Yeah. And, with the Titanic as well, there's so many people that always ask and wonder why they haven't tried to bring it back up. And all the experts have said that it's so rotted and it's so decayed that if they even tried to move it, this thing would just, basically crumble into a million pieces. It's not salvageable where you could legitimately resurrect it from the depths of the ocean, which... I'm intrigued by it. I love anytime there's a Titanic documentary or, reenactment, or they go down and try to, show you what it looks like today. And they give you because keep in mind, and I was reading about this yesterday with the Titanic, it went down in 1912, but nobody went down and found it and saw what it looked like until 1985 or 1986. So that's a good 73, 74 years where that thing was there, and there was no excursions, not even from scientists or ocean people or whatever.
A little fun factoid that I read: James Cameron was, because he made the Titanic movie, and he also made a documentary about the Titanic, and that came out in 2003. September 11th, 2001, he was down under, he made this excursion to look at the Titanic wreckage. He says he was the last person in the Western Hemisphere to know that 9/11 had happened because he was down.
Wow.
He was down surveying the scene down there.
Unbelievable.
On September 11th.
So he was down at the bottom of the ocean on 9/11
when the towers
Unbelievable.
fell. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. 855-839-1210. What's on the cut sheet is coming up at 7:45. But before we get to that, we've got some media news. Just how often is Joe Biden fact-checked? And then also a big shakeup at Fox News. We'll get into that when we continue. Kayal and Company.
The Dudette Dental Group is the official dentist for the Philadelphia Eagles and would love to care for you. The Eagles trust Dr. D and his team, and you can too. With 30 area locations, the Dudette Dental Group provides specialized care like dental implants, root canal therapy, fillings, and more. During the offseason, take care of your smile and get ready to cheer on our team. Dudette Dental Group accepts all major dental insurances and has preseason specials on whitening and cosmetic dentistry. Visit PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, Costco members have a $2,500 incentive on the purchase or lease of an electric Volvo. There is a $1,000 incentive on all gas and hybrid 2023 models. Explore this safe and versatile 2023 XC90 and take advantage of special financing, a rate of under 5%. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo for a full list of extraordinary offers for both new and previously owned Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit us now. We have the inventory and we have competitive offers.
MLBshop.com has everything you need to rep the team you believe in, the players you love, and the community you come from. So snag all those hoodies, caps, jerseys, and swag, and wear your pride with style at home, on the streets, and wherever you go. And with exclusive offers every day, you can unapologetically strut your stuff for a price you love as much as your team. Visit MLBshop.com, the official online shop of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Applying to college comes with lots of questions, like where should I go? What major? Will I like my 2 roommates? What if one snores or has a pet tarantula? And how am I going to pay for all this? Luckily, when you get a Citizen student loan with Student Credit Builder, you can make payments while you're in school, which means you can start building credit for when you graduate and say goodbye to roommates with tarantulas. Learn more at citizensbank.com/one-and-done. Citizens, made ready.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Summer is the perfect time to call Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy. Does your child or grandchild need more of a challenge? Now's the time to make that call to Kathy Ganna at New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope founder Kathy Ganna, pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call now for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy now, 800-300-0003.
When
you need to know. Depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Oxygen is running low on the missing submersible in the Atlantic Ocean. A series of bills that would alter Pennsylvania's medical marijuana laws passed committee with bipartisan support. And Governor Shapiro says temporary lanes on I-95 in Northeast Philly will be completed by this weekend.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
For over 4 decades, Kitchen Magic has been transforming ordinary kitchens into extraordinary spaces. Our dedicated team is at the core of our success, combining expertise and creativity to drive innovation and excellence. We understand that your kitchen is more than just a space. It's where memories are made and cherished for a lifetime. We'll craft a kitchen that truly becomes the heart of your home. Discover the possibilities at kitchenmagic.com today. Now offering no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months on your kitchen remodel.
Parks Casino. Joe Conklin hosts national comedians every other Thursday. It's Joe Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks. Show dates and tickets. Go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com.
Hi, this is Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. This month, PNC Arts Alive is proud to welcome our 2023 grantees to a group of more than 90 arts organizations that have benefited from funding over the past 15 years. Through PNC Arts Alive, we have contributed more than $15 million and brought 300 arts programs to life for millions of audience members. We applaud our 2023 Arts Alive grant recipients and the entire Delaware Valley arts and cultural community. Be a part of art. Learn more at pncartsalive.com. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Life is short, and if we spend our time suffering with pain and it takes away our joy, that's not a very good way to live.
He's right. It's hard to be happy when you're in constant pain. QC Kinetics patient Chad admits the chronic pain in his knee really robbed his quality of life.
When I was going to the traditional doctor and getting the pain pills, my smile wasn't as big as it usually is. Going to my high school reunion on crutches, it was awful.
But then Chad visited QC Kinetics. He experienced the real power behind natural regenerative treatments. Using healing properties from his own body, QC Kinetics was able to restore and repair damaged tissue, finally giving Chad lasting relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime.
And I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
Learn how advanced regenerative medicine can help your body heal itself at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Kayal and Company mornings. Rich Cioli afternoons. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
.32, it is Kayal and Company, Thursday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, second day officially of summer, even though it feels like April. What's on the cut sheet? You're going to find out 7:45 this morning. A lot of good stories to get to throughout the course of the show. Elon Musk saying cis and cisgender are considered slurs now on Twitter. We'll get to that story. Colin Kaepernick goes on the attack against capitalism. So we've got cap-on-cap crime, and we'll get to that story as we continue. And also Fox News with a little bit of a shake-up yesterday as the network post-Tucker Carlson continues to deal with a lot of backlash, some collapsing ratings, and getting rid of some, I would assume, bloated contracts. But before we get to Fox, let me go to CNN. And this is not so much on their talent front as far as terrible shows, uninteresting hosts, and terrible ratings, but this is about CNN's presidential fact checker. Senior presidential fact checker of CNN, Daniel Dale. I don't know if he was a colleague of the now dismissed Brian Stelter or if he is just the new Brian Stelter, but he has not.
He's been there for a while.
Okay, he's been there for a while? Okay. He is apparently not doing his job when it comes to fact-checking Joe Biden. In fact, he has not fact-checked Joe Biden in months. Now, I have said on a recent big take, I think within the last week or so, that fact-checkers are nothing more than a political arm of the Democratic Party. And this story from the Free Beacon and freebeacon.com CNN senior presidential fact checker Daniel Dale, who rose to media fame for his obsessive focus on the statements of Donald Trump. Well, now that Joe Biden is in the White House, though, Dale seems to have lost interest in his main job. Ahead of Biden's inauguration, Dale stressed that the, quote, same intensity and rigor should be applied to the incoming president. I was tough on Trump. I will be tough on Biden, is basically what he is saying. But the last time that Dale fact-checked Joe Biden was March 30th.
Wow.
Which is remarkable.
We do that here on a daily basis.
Right, because we have to, because he lies on a daily basis. He lies every time he opens his mouth, which is usually once or twice a week when they allow him out for a brief cameo. But for nearly 3 months now, Dale has exclusively fact-checked Republicans. 18 of those 29 fact checks have been of Trump, who is obviously running for president again. And since March 30th, 82 total days, 29 fact checks, 18 on Trump, and the other 11 on other Republicans not named here in the Free Beacon story. But Joe Biden gets off scot-free. So as you put on CNN, and I'm assuming hardly anybody in this audience does, but like when you were watching the Caitlin Collins Donald Trump town hall, or we played you clips of Jake Tapper, where Jake says, all right, producer, let's just bail out of the Miami Spanish cafe. We can't fact check. He's just going to go start lying again. Or even, let's go from CNN to MSNBC, where Rachel Maddow said, no, tonight we have made the editorial to Bedminster, New Jersey for another Trump campaign election speech, because it'll just be filled and littered with misinformation. So they don't fact check Joe, but they're also willing not to show you the front runner for the Republican Party. So that is a fascinating thing. And you would think that Joe, at this moment in time, with all that's looming right now, his reelection bid, his son, his classified document scandal, I mean, there's a lot of juicy content, right? And topics under the Joe Biden topic tree, so to speak. And you would think, especially CNN, who desperately is trying to regain some clout, some legitimacy, some respect. And, as Chris Lick said prior to his dismissal after 13 months, we're just going to report the news. We're going to give you the facts. We're going to be more centrist. We're going to be more moderate. We're going to show you Donald Trump. We're going to have town halls with Nikki Haley. We're going to bring the Republicans in and give them a fair opportunity for their message to be heard. But no, we will not fact check Joe Biden, which is really remarkable. So I actually think CNN now might be forget the bottom of cable news. They just might be at the bottom of left-wing media completely right now. Because at least the New York Times, at least the Washington Post will run some op-eds that are anti-Joe Biden, critical of Joe Biden, or pointing out his fallacies, his failures, and his lies. CNN basically said, you know what, we're going to take a quarter of the year off from fact-checking Joe. So that's nice work out of Daniel Dale. Good job, buddy. Way to earn your paycheck. And then from CNN to Fox, how about this? And I'll be honest, I liked him when I was growing up, when he was a journalist. I thought on the 5 he was terrible. But the news coming out yesterday that Fox has gotten rid of Geraldo Rivera from the 5. He, if you've ever watched that show, he sits in that second chair on the left, where usually it's a rotating chair of Democrats, whether it's Harold Ford or Jessica Tarlov. And Geraldo is apparently a Republican. But yet, every time I've watched that show in the last year and a half that I saw him on, I legitimately thought he was a Democrat because...
By the way, can I just say something? Geraldo was never a journalist. I mean,
But when he was on the ground in, overseas during... No?
There were always problems.
Yeah, he's
Remember that?
He's a big phony.
Well,
I mean, he's like a...
He's a showman.
The Al Capone's Vault, and he did the Geraldo Rivera show where it was basically like Jerry Springer.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
he was, he's a showman.
Let me reposition this. From being out in the field reporting on stories to being a talking head at a desk. Fair?
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. So Geraldo is out, and I'm glad. And I don't think anybody will miss him on that show. And I know, Dawn, you probably have some Geraldo thoughts or Geraldo stories, but, I would almost rather just deal, as a fan of that show, the one show that I try to watch religiously, I would much rather just have, and my disdain for her, just give me Tarlov, because at least I know she's a Democrat. Geraldo just came off. Every time I'd ever watched that show, I actually thought there were times where Gutfeld or Jesse Waters wanted to reach across the desk and just throw the stack of papers at him. So he's out.
He spun it that he quit the show.
Oh, he's spinning that he's quitting.
He quit.
I think he got canceled.
No, he said my contract wasn't renewed. Isn't that what he said on?
Well, that could be a passive aggressive cancellation by the company. Isn't that kind of the way of?
I don't know.
We don't really want you anymore.
I'm looking at the Associated Press, and they said that Geraldo has quit as one of the lonely liberal voices on Fox News.
Yeah, which is weird because he's they label him as a liberal, but he's a registered Republican, which it goes to my point of every time I heard him talk, it was never really he never really echoed any sentiments of the right.
It says that his last appearance will be July 4th week.
Okay.
But is he out? So they're giving him a chance to say bye-bye?
What will I do for a show that I don't watch?
Yes. Geraldo Rivera. Say goodbye.
Who cares?
Figured I'd share that with you. What a guy.
Gutfeld had a piece in the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if you guys saw that. Basically, it was this giant. I mean, he really is the heir apparent to Tucker. I mean, that's what they're making him out to be because obviously the Wall Street Journal is owned by Murdoch's company.
Right.
So
Gutfeld?
Yeah. So he's really. I mean, this was
skyrocketing.
This was a it was like a Wall Street Journal magazine piece.
Well,
he's a huge article about him.
He's the king of late nights right now. Which, by the way, is the writer's strike on for the late night show still?
For the late night shows, it is, but
It's
not
still,
for him.
Right.
Yeah.
But for all the Kimmels of the world.
Yep.
This is the shows that I A, can't stay up for, and B, wouldn't stay up for if I had the chance to.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while now, and by the way, nobody's missed him.
No.
I was just going to say that
mean?
story's completely vanished, right?
Yeah, it really has.
There's nothing in the news cycle talking about it.
Yeah. If I'm those writers, I'd be like, hey guys, we're picketing, and nobody gives a you know what.
Well, let me ask you this, and I know I totally get that their ratings on those shows like Kimmel and Fallon, they're not great. They don't do that well. But I'm assuming since they are super left and they are advertiser friendly that they make a good amount of money.
Sure.
But in their absence, I'm wondering if do you think some of these suits at these networks are saying, hey, I know we make money on it, but we spend a lot of money on talent, like Jimmy Fallon, put talent in air quotes. Do you think they would actually just maybe hey, if there's no demand for it and nobody's talking about it or nobody's missing it, once the strike is over, do we just pivot away from that type of format? Because you've talked about it on the show that the death of late night TV has been going on for quite a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that they would. There's no real negotiating power for these writers because, I mean, the money that they're making on these late night shows can't be that much that they can't put something else there and say, hey,
right,
this is the new thing now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So. And if you really look at the numbers, it's like 1.5 for Fallon, 1.7 for Kimmel, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe 2 million for Colbert. So it's not like it's a huge number for any of these people.
Right.
They get a lot of their play on social media and stuff. The clips that circulate. That's really where they get all their play from.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So they're on day 50 for the Hollywood writer, more than 11,000 writers. So now I guess they're thinking about pushing. I know there's some rally today, I believe, but I think they're looking at pushing the Emmy Awards, pushing that back.
Oh, okay.
Which is in September, right? It's usually
I believe
in the fall.
so. Yeah.
So will that be pushed back?
Oh wow!
Due to the writer's strike.
What will we do if that's pushed back?
But to your point, I wonder if this is all part of the fallout of the politically correctness that we're seeing, and the fact that the writers used to be part of this creative endeavor where we had funny shows and original thought.
Yeah.
And so if they can't be funny anymore and they can't get ratings anymore, are they just Are they really the victims of this whole politically correct, not funny anymore movement?
Well, think about this. So you're basically cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Mm-hmm.
You eliminate, a good percentage of potential material out of fear of offending somebody, right? Yeah. Like, this is why, and I'm going to watch this weekend. Rob Schneider did a thing on Fox Nation called Woke Up in America. And, Rob Schneider's a comedian. He's been in all the Adam Sandler movies and things like that.
Used to be on SNL, right?
Yeah, great character on SNL in the early 90s. So, it's like one of these things where if you're going to eliminate and basically handicap me and say, hey, you can't go down this road, that road, like you're taking 35, 40, 45% of my material away. I mean, you're really limiting the creativity that I could have with putting on a performance because you're going to get tweets by people that were, oh, I can't believe you said that. And then I'm going to make it go viral and I'm going to reshare it. You losers. So we'll get into that coming out of the weekend.
But I think the writer's strike is, to me, and for years I was in SAG-AFTRA. I'm not in anywhere. I might be somewhat, but
full disclosure, I am, by the way. So
that's
you are.
Screen Actors Guild, or
well, they combined.
Yeah,
right. They used to be separate.
TV,
now
radio,
they combine.
yeah.
So Larry and I are. I mean, we have like a what's it called, where you can work part time because maybe you do other gigs, but. The bottom line is, I think our changing industry, the platforms, look at Odyssey, for example. We didn't have these types of platforms. So I think all of this, to me, really is, the old school archaic ways of things are changing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if necessarily that's good for unionized workers.
And you're referring to just like radio TV being more than radio TV now? Like with us, we're not just radio, we're audio, we're video,
right.
We're streaming. Yeah.
And so all those TV jobs used to be, and right now, if you go to New York and you're on any of the networks, for example, you don't put your own microphone on. You know that, right? Like when you go, when I was on CBS, like you put your hands up like this, and guys string up the wires or the wireless or whatever, put the power pack, you touch nothing.
Oh, you mean like physically placing it on your body?
That's
not,
correct.
Not hitting the on button.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't hit the on button. You don't touch any equipment because it's all unionized.
Okay.
Those are all jobs. So are all of those jobs, is this going to evolve to the point where all of those jobs are no longer protected?
Yeah. I'm going to get Dorenzo and Valdez in here. They can start putting my earbuds in for me.
No, that's
a little too much work for
That's
me.
no joke.
Yeah.
And even to touch a board like this is still foreign to me because, we touch our own we touch our own board.
Keep your hands off your board.
Yeah.
But seriously, in union shops, you would touch nothing.
Well, to be honest with you, you actually in this industry, the board that's in front of you, you actually can't touch. It needs to be a union employee that does it. Hence why I run the board.
Oh.
Why Nick doesn't run the board or why you don't run the board or,
I used to run the board back in the day when I was Bruno's producer.
Well, then
I loved it.
Well, then maybe was that company SAG-AFTRA?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
No.
I will just say this, full disclosure, if I had to cover, and I've been in this position before, right now, if I had to go and I was sent to an event and there was a strike, I would not cross a line.
Yeah.
I would not.
Okay.
I would.
I wouldn't. I would not. I just wouldn't because there's a piece of me that just feels like look, this is about a changing industry. And whether you think that's bad or good, there are individuals who are in a union and it's tough to be in that spot. I would not, nor have I ever crossed a picket line. I just wouldn't do it.
Valdez and Dorenzo, by the way, don't get in any ideas. There's going to be no striking going on here. Union or not.
Yes.
Because remember, I'm also in the union.
We start at 6 a.m.
Exactly.
Also, if you know how many technical problems I have, the union guys and gals always loved me because they're like, Dawn, you don't want to touch it anyway. I'm gonna mess something up.
All right. 855-839-1210 coming up in just a little bit. We'll get to Elon Musk. We will get to Colin Kaepernick, and then we've got some good folks coming in the studio at 9:30 for the final half hour of the show in regards to our bike ride with Families Behind the Badge and the Children's Foundation. But right now, it's time for What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Thursday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out on Route 70. Check them out right now on Route 70 in Cherry Hill. If you're driving by there, give a little honk. Tell them you heard about them on 1210 WPHT, Kayal and Company. Kamala Harris.
Oh, jeez. Kamala's in the leadoff spot today.
She is. She's batting leadoff today.
All right.
She was doing some radio interview, and she told a story about. Are you guys familiar with this? The two frogs and the two pots.
No. Any relation to the Budweiser frogs?
I have no idea. Kamala Harris, I'm not really sure what she's talking about here, but this is Kamala Harris telling a story about two frogs.
I think of those two frogs. You know, the two frogs and the two pots. So for your listeners, here it goes. So there are two pots of water and two frogs.
Yep.
And in one pot, you put the frog in the water and you slowly turn up the heat.
Yeah.
And that frog's just hanging out as the heat just slowly gets hotter.
Yeah.
To the point that
hot tub.
water starts to boil and that frog perishes. In the other pot of water, you first turn up the heat real high.
Mm-hmm.
The water's boiling. You drop that frog in, he'll jump right out.
Yep.
The lesson there, as far as I'm concerned, don't be that first frog.
Okay. Hell yeah.
What the hell is she talking about?
Yes. Well, a couple of things. I do believe frog legs are a delicacy in some communities.
Stop.
Some people eat frog legs.
Wouldn't it be in a frog's instinct if it was a boiling pot of water to get out?
Did she mean crabs by accident?
No.
I think she's conflating two different. There's Aesop's fable,
Thank
but
you,
also
Donna.
there's
I
this,
knew you would know this.
there's the famous story of a frog in a pot, that if you put a frog in a pot of lukewarm water and then you slowly turn up the heat, it will actually remain in the pot and boil to its death. And that story is to illustrate the fact that sometimes you want to have zero tolerance for things that you know in society that will be deadly for you, or you know what I mean, will be ill-fated.
So there weren't two frogs, it was just one frog?
That's a different story than the bottom line for Aesop's fable, fables of Aesop, right? Is look before you leap.
Yeah.
Two frogs had to leave their dry pond, encountered a well.
Yeah.
One said they should live there. The other cautioned about getting out. How would they get out of the well if they needed to? Look before you leap. That's where that saying comes from. So they're two very different stories, and I think she's conflating them in this one.
This is shades of Joe Biden, where he's just merging stories and folklore together.
And by the way, when she tells the story, of course, she tells it like she's talking to a kindergarten class. You know the story about the two frogs and the two pots?
Insert a little giggle.
No,
yeah.
we don't know that story.
Well, how would you rather go out? Like frog number one or the people on the Titanic submersible?
No, it's not right. Old man Dudley on YouTube says it all tastes like chicken. It's true.
Yeah.
Everything tastes like chicken.
Everything tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
But I think it's ironic that the vice president is talking about this and messing up. She messes up the stinking, Aesop's fable, which is, by the way, just before you vote, think about the consequences. All right?
Yeah.
That's my little fable.
Yes. Think about who you're actually going to vote for, folks.
Please.
My God.
She can't even get the fable correct.
That's awful.
By the way, streaming live right now, broadcasting live on video on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. I don't know. We had an issue, I think, with the video feed at one point, so we lost a bunch of viewers, but now they're all slowly coming back in. Daniel said if you refresh the screen.
We lost transmission.
It will. We're working on stuff behind the scenes. I don't want to get into any of it because, quite frankly, I can't. But
okay,
we're blazing a new. Can I just say this? We're blazing a new path on YouTube. We're the first show in this company that is doing this. We're actually the first news talk station, I believe, that broadcasts its show on other shows do it. I know that, but we're the first news talk show station that's doing this. So there's a lot of hiccups that are happening behind the scenes, and we don't, we're kind of flying blind here. It's Daniel Valdez, myself, and Anthony Dorenzo who are really kind of, have spearheaded this whole thing, and there's going to be some issues. So just be patient. with us, okay. But all that being said, if you haven't done so yet, we're this is a grassroots effort. We're starting from scratch. We started with no followers.
Yes,
3 months ago,
and the goal is by July 4th weekend,
4,000. We want to have by July 4th, by our nation's independence. We would like to have 4,000 subscribers. We're at 3.68 right now. Let's try and get to 3,700 by 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So if you're watching right now, hit the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button at 1210 WPHT on YouTube. Last night, Ron DeSantis was on the Fox News primetime show, the formerly Tucker Carlson show. Kaylee McEnany hosted last night. Talking about, because Trump accused DeSantis of closing down Florida and mask mandates and all that stuff. And she remembers it differently because she was in the White House at this time. And this is what she said to him.
You mentioned COVID there. And I have this very distinct memory. I was in the Oval Office with Dr. Anthony Fauci in the Situation Room with him. I mean, this man made you think like your days were numbered. All of our days were numbered, all 323 million of us, But then I go to Florida. I met you on a tarmac, and you were saying some pretty bullish things about opening the state. I was a bit taken aback because it was such a contrast to kind of the groupthink I was hearing there in Washington. But you earned the ire of the left on your COVID response. Now you're getting attacked from the right. There were a variety of responses to COVID. Why was yours the right one?
Well, we made a decision to...
By the way, if you're watching right now on Facebook, Ron DeSantis looks deflated in this. Like, he lost a ton of weight.
Ron has always been a loser.
Oh, no, that's not right. Mr. President, what is wrong with you? But doesn't he, Dawn, he looks like he's deflated. He looks...
I'll admit, because my buddy boy had surgery, I didn't sleep last night, so I watched this live, and I was obsessed with it. I was like, oh my gosh, he lost like 40 pounds.
Yeah, it doesn't look good either.
I mean, he looks, when you lose weight, you look younger. So in part, he looks a little younger.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when you lose so much weight, your skin actually looks kind of saggy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and he's not an old guy or anything by that nature, but it's that Ozempic. I swear to God. They're all getting the Ozempic.
Yeah. Well, and also, I think he's very self-conscious, self-aware. I think there's a thin skin element to him, no pun intended.
I don't know.
I think he's very self-conscious that he was, I think the Trump, I'll be honest, maybe it's just coincidence, maybe it's just timing. But I think that maybe the Meatball Ron thing was hey, I'm going for president here. I better drop about 20 lbs.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I think Trump got in his head.
The Meatball Ron thing got in his head 100%.
But I think also that he's on the national stage. How many consultants did they hire? How many consultants? He has all these consultants in his head.
Yep.
And so they said, you got to lose weight. We got to get a new tailor. You got to watch. He'll get a little something to, I don't know, tighten up his skin or something is next.
You got to look as good as Gavin does.
And so then even at the end of the interview, and he does the smile, and you could just hear the consultant going, smile at the end of the interview. So a piece of that is you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And so he was very comfortable and very confident as Florida governor. Now he has a year and a half, and it's a process. We're watching in real live time somebody go from the state level now to the national stage.
I think some people have a natural ability to smile. I've always said this to Tony Bruno. Tony Bruno has mastered this certain smirk, and I used to bust his chops. I'm like, how many times did you work on that in the mirror? And then I see guys like DeSantis, and we know about the consultants, and we want you to smile more. It almost seems like a forced, uncomfortable smile.
Yeah.
Like when you're told to smile for a picture and you know you don't want to, and
No,
you're
I
like,
hate smiling.
and you're like
for
all
pictures.
cheesy looking.
I hate pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's finish. Finish Ron.
Buck Fauci, buck the medical establishment, buck the media, the left, and some Republicans, and say, you know what? People in Florida have a right to work. The businesses have a right to be open. Kids have a right to be in school, and we're not going to impose mask mandates or the like or vaccine mandates. And the minute we did that, we became the focal point for freedom in this country.
Now, I have not seen whether or not Trump has posted on Truth Social about this interview last night, because it's his former White House press secretary interviewing his rival now on a network that Trump thinks has become hostile towards him. I watched this live last night as well, and I thought, and I think this is the same clip, I kind of felt like that's a little bit of a leading question. And then also there's other commentary, I believe, after this.
Leading how?
About, can we hear her question again?
Sure.
Right at the end of it, like basically saying in agreement almost that you made the right call on how to handle COVID and keep things open.
I mean, that's basically what she said, but I will start the clip over with just her question.
Okay.
You mentioned COVID there, and I have this very distinct memory. I was in the Oval Office with Dr. Anthony Fauci in the Situation Room with him. I mean, this man made you think like your days were numbered. All of our days were numbered, all 323 million of us, you know. But then I go to Florida. I met you on a tarmac, and you were saying some pretty bullish things about opening the state. I was a bit taken aback because it was such a contrast to kind of the groupthink I was hearing there in Washington. But you earned the ire of the left on your COVID response. Now you're getting attacked from the right. There are a variety of responses to COVID. Why was yours the right one?
Right there towards the end.
She's phrasing it as a question. You think yours was the right one. Why?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, Dawn? I mean,
okay. First of all, I don't take this as anti-Trump as much as I do a reminder of Fauci, the influence of Fauci and the media and all the shaming.
Sure.
And a sense of what they were dealing with in the Trump administration. But with that said, this was a puff kind.
That's the vibe I get. Yes.
Interview.
Not anti-Trump, but man, let's really pump Ron up here.
This
right?
was not Brett Baer and Trump.
Yes.
Right. This was and I love Florida, and when I went there, you know what I mean. And then with his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very nice interview.
Yeah.
But she's not ready yet for prime time.
And also,
she's not.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Daytime, on that supporting cast that she's on daytime.
Wait, she handled the press though masterfully.
It's a different skill set, Greg.
Yeah.
And I just think that I like her. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan.
I know that.
She did a fantastic job. But she's not ready for this slot. And they should not put her in the slot because she's a woman. And I'm just going to say that. She's fantastic. She's good in an ensemble cast. Let her grow a bit. She looks fabulous. She sounds fabulous. She's good. But she does not have the gravitas or the experience. Don't put her in this spot just yet. She's not ready.
I'm not sure if it was in that question, and maybe we did not get the full extent of that question, or if it was a follow-up. But she goes on to say about how she was in awe that like everything was open in Florida, and the roadways and the highways were open. And as I'm watching it last night, I'm like, where in this country? Now, people might have stayed off the road in the beginning of the pandemic because they didn't want to leave their house. But now you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because I was in Tennessee at the time. There was never road closures due to COVID, right? I'm not missing something, am I? Like, were roads like physically shut down where you could not travel on them?
No.
Okay, because she goes on to say that in one of her other questions, and I'm like, where is she getting this from? Which goes to she's really trying to prop up Ron here.
Cyberegg on YouTube says he did close the beaches.
Yeah.
Well, remember the parks not in Philadelphia, thankfully, but in, for example, New Jersey. Remember that? The state parks were closed. The kids' playgrounds were closed.
Yeah. Taped off.
Yeah, remember that?
Sand put in skate parks. Speaking of kids, we got kids walking in the hallway right now.
I love it. Look at that.
A bunch of 12-year-olds.
They're waving.
Yeah, they're waving.
Adam Schiff was on Anderson Cooper last night.
Well, that's a duo.
Discussing the censure of Adam Schiff. And he says, look, I would do it. Why are you waving to these people, Dawn? We don't know them. Why are you waving to them? Concentrate on today's show. It's 8:03.
We're in the middle of a segment.
There's people walking. There's people listening all over the Delaware Valley.
They're those crazy conservatives in the back of the building.
I mean, you could be turning away future talent, Greg.
Free speech advocates. Okay.
20 years from now, these people could be the morning drive hosts.
Yeah.
See?
Always recruit.
No, yeah, we should see if they want to produce. We could probably get them cheaper than Dorenzo and
you know how excited they would be to get $12 an hour right now.
All right, Shifty Schiff on with Anderson Cooper, saying that he would do it all over again.
Oh,
do you have any regrets on how you handle the Russia issue? Obviously, the former president was never criminally implicated for anything involving Russia.
No, not at all. I think the investigation of his misconduct was very important. It ultimately led to his impeachment, which I was proud to lead, and it led to the first bipartisan vote to remove a president in U.S. history. I was also proud to serve on the January 6th committee, and I would do all of that again, and I would do it the same way. But what is really the gravamen of the offense here is I feel I was effective at holding him to account.
No.
And if the need were to arise again, and God help us if it does, I would do it all over again.
How about that?
Certified, verified, bona fide, documented liar.
And fraudster.
And fraudster.
He defrauded the American people. I want my money back.
And I would do it again.
And shouldn't the impeachments now, knowing all these lies, shouldn't we revoke that?
Mm-hmm.
Everything should be reversed.
This is the equivalent of Hunter Biden going before his judge to accept his plea deal and saying, you know what, that $1.2 million that I owe in back taxes over the last 2 years, I would do it all again, Your Honor. Think about it. This guy just gets off the hook with it. Imagine if there was an R in front of this guy's name and he said that.
Yeah, I mean, the Hunter, people focus on Hunter. It's not about Hunter.
I know.
Okay, and Hunter as a drug addict, I mean, thank goodness he's alive, quite frankly.
You see, now you sound like the mainstream media.
Uh-oh.
Did you see the way they were spinning it? Like,
no.
Almost defending his faults because he's got an addiction.
Oh, I see. I didn't even see because I was in.
It's okay.
My dog was in surgery all day yesterday, so I didn't see that.
We understand that you maybe fell behind on your taxes and had a gun because you're hooked on crack. I like some of the main. I'm sure there's like a montage floating around the internet now with it, but they were making excuses, almost saying like, "Yeah, it's wrong, but you kind of have a built-in defense."
He probably does. But the bigger point is, I mean, I have to, in a way, give him credit. The fact that he used the family name, allegedly, to deal with these foreign entities.
I don't know if that's alleged anymore. I think that's a pretty proven fact that
deal
he did
with,
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Deal with these foreign entities, make millions, allegedly, for not just himself, but 8 or 9 other family members that we know of, create shell companies. So that leads to the question, if this guy really was the crack addict that we've seen, we see the pictures where he's with the crack pipe and the Russian or the whoever the ladies are that are all naked in these pictures. You're telling me that guy created all these shell companies that it has taken years to even get to the bottom of it? That guy on crack and on all these drugs?
Maybe he does have a skill set that we're not acknowledging.
Or was it not him?
No.
Was he one of the shells in the shell? You know what I mean? Was he one of the shills in the shell company or whatever? So who was using him?
Yep. I like that line of thought.
Right? If he's the druggie that they're going through, then, because, I mean, every picture you see, he's naked, he's got whatever, the big crack pipe and the apparatus and
let me play devil's advocate for you here for a second, Dawn, because you're all about the children and all this.
Okay.
Okay, so, like, is addiction not a problem in this country?
Well,
and if it was your child who had an addiction problem,
I would say,
how would you handle it?
I would say,
I'm not defending anything.
No, but that's my point. My
point
is, were they who was orchestrating this? Are you telling me that a crack addict who had a major addiction problem and he's been through rehab multiple times, you're telling me that crack addict did all this and made all of these gazillions, I mean, millions and millions of dollars, right? You're telling me that one guy orchestrated this, thought of all of it, or was he a pawn being used by who?
The big guy.
right?
But he loves his son, and he's proud of him.
Who was orchestrating all of this?
I would say addiction is certainly real. I would just say addiction is not a defense.
So is Joe Biden a bumbling buffoon, or is he a mastermind? I'm confused.
Or is there another family member? There are all these people where the money, they can follow the money, and that's what they continue to do.
Yep.
So the money shows that it's being wired from places like, Ukraine and Russia, and it's being wired directly into and infused into these bank accounts of Biden family members. That's the allegation, and that's what, Comer has told us, right? So who is orchestrating this? The crack addict?
All right. God save the Queen, man.
God save the Queen, man.
Like, I remember that Game of Thrones episode where remember the really old guy, but he was really orchestrating everything?
Yeah.
But he was very feeble, and he pretended like he was, is that all an act? I have no idea.
I think Joe's truly out of it, but it certainly works in his favor because that's his defense. Well, I'm getting up there in years.
Yeah, I mean, Gene on YouTube has a good point. He's not a child; he's an adult.
Yeah, he's 53 years old.
He's a grown.
He's not like Daniel Valdez at 22 years old, where even though you're technically an adult, you want to give him a little bit of a pass or a benefit of the doubt or a second chance. Like, this is a guy who, and I hope that the guy doesn't, die from a crack overdose or anything like that. But this is also the kind of a scumbag who has a kid who's 4 years old and he doesn't acknowledge his daughter.
Yeah,
that's
sad.
Like, that's what garbage does. You're a piece of garbage. Acknowledge your kid. And I'm not just talking to the tune of $20,000 a month in child support. That doesn't count.
Nobody in the family has acknowledged this little girl in the Navy.
Not even Jill. And as we know about Jill,
my wife's a Philly girl.
You're a Philly girl.
Do they know? Has there been a paternity test that has gone on with this?
I thought that was the whole issue.
Yeah.
That he said it's not my kid. The judge in Arkansas
ordered a
the
paternity test, and they said it was.
And then they said that it was his kid.
Can you imagine if they did that on Maury Povich? Hunter, you are the father.
All right, let's get back to the cuts.
Yes.
We talked yesterday a lot about this Hunter Biden thing. The consensus on this show was that he got a sweetheart deal. I'm going to play two clips from two, I thought, relatively smart people who claim it's the opposite.
Oh.
That just because of his last name, we said because of his last name, because of who he is, he got a sweetheart deal. They say he actually got harsher treatment. This is Dan Abrams on Good Morning America saying that because his last name is Biden, he got harsher treatment.
But given this set of facts, what difference did it make that the subject was Hunter Biden?
I think it made an enormous difference here. Look, anytime someone gets probation, right, or a diversionary agreement, you could argue it's a sweetheart deal, right? It's true. They're not getting any prison time. And yet, if this wasn't Hunter Biden, it is likely he wouldn't have been prosecuted at all. Meaning, on the tax charges, typically, to get prison time for a tax charge, you need to have either have a criminal history or been making big efforts to hide the money. Here, the IRS went to him. They said, you owe this amount of money. People get notices from the IRS that they owe money. If they pay it back, typically the person isn't charged. Here he was charged. Okay, there was wrongdoing. On the gun issue, typically that is not something that gets charged alone. Almost never does that particular charge about lying.
And you're talking about thousands of cases a year.
Thousands would get prosecuted if that was the charge. But with that said, it does seem that the facts support a guilty plea on these charges. But if he wasn't Hunter Biden, you have to believe there wouldn't have been a prosecution.
Yes, I mean, I don't know what that guy's legal credentials are. I'm guessing they're far better than anybody. I mean, there's like probably the equivalent of a Jonathan Turley. So I'm just trying, and I'm not saying he's wrong. It feels like he's wrong, but here's two thought processes and two things that are popping up in my head. So this guy can owe $1.2 million in back taxes for 2 years and get away with whatever he's been getting away with for 5 years. This investigation took 5 years. Should have been done in 5 weeks or 5 months. And we've got individuals in this new weaponized IRS of 87,000 plus agents that are now being told, hey, if anything over, over $600 on a Venmo transaction or a PayPal transaction, we've got waitresses and servers where tips are going to they're going to come after your tip money if you don't report it properly. And then you go above and beyond the average common folk. You've got guys like Wesley Snipes in Hollywood Lil Wayne, Ja Rule in the hip-hop world. We talked about these celebrity profile cases yesterday, whether they were gun-related or tax-related, both of which are the categories that Hunter Biden's investigation falls under. And those people went to jail for 3 years. So I must be missing something. There's got to be some context.
Well, to be fair, both things can be true.
Okay.
He was prosecuted or whatever. He was investigated because of his last name. But he also got a sweetheart deal because of his last name.
Okay.
So both things can be true.
I'm down with that.
Right?
Yes, and what Dan Abrams said is true. What they're not talking about, though, is the original investigation. So what this is about is foreign lobbying laws. It's about alleged money laundering, right? It's not just about not paying your taxes and tax evasion. What Manafort went to jail for is what, to my understanding, Hunter Biden was accused of, which was, first of all, you have to acknowledge, you have to notify the government that you are working for this foreign entity, that you're doing consulting with this foreign entity and taking money. So this goes to Burisma. There were multiple companies that Hunter Biden worked for, created, what have you, but a lot of it is lobbying laws. So they're not, what's happening in the media right now is it's omission.
Mm-hmm.
They're not talking about the other things that are bigger things that Hunter and this family were all being looked at. And so my question is, does all that go away with this little misdemeanor? Oh, well, he didn't pay his taxes, and oh, he had a gun and this, that. That's not what it's about. Others have gone to jail and recently, and Manafort served time here in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
It was only because of COVID that they put him out. I think he's still actually technically on house confinement.
Okay.
For another year.
Yeah.
I don't think that's over for him. I think he's still wearing a bracelet, ankle bracelet.
And I believe as long as Hunter Biden follows every, protocol that he's been told he has to follow, he will essentially leave this like diversion program essentially and have an expungement of his record, which will be basically wiped clean from anybody's, an employer, a search. There will be nothing on him criminally.
And those diversion programs are pretty common. I will say that. So Dan Abrams is correct in everything he's saying, but I just want to hear more about what happens to all of those the investigation into everything else and the money laundering and creating shell companies and lobbying for foreign companies. While Dad is vice president.
Yep.
What about all that?
Correct.
CNN's Renato Mariotti takes it one step further. He says that Hunter's plea deal is actually harsher than the treatment that a typical person would receive.
In 2017, is this any different, what he is doing, than what would happen to the average American?
It's different, but not in the way you might expect. I think it's actually harsher than the treatment that a typical person would receive. So I've charged misdemeanor tax charges that are just like the ones here. In other words, we talk a lot of times, the public might talk about tax evasion and think of all crimes as tax crime.
So basically he's saying that it's actually harsher than...
But he's sitting there talking about misdemeanors. Now, I don't know what level of tax crimes that guy prosecuted and charged people with, but Hunter Biden was involved in a federal investigation and to the tune of... think about how much money
$1.5 million
you have to be making to owe $1.2 million in back taxes in 2 years. Keep in mind, this is a guy that's supposedly paying $20,000 a month for child support. This is a guy that was receiving allegedly $60,000 a month from Burisma. So think about you just basic calculation with percentages of your income, how much goes to taxes, 25%, 28%, 22%, 33%, depending on your tax bracket. Think about what you have to be raking in to owe $1.2 million in back taxes. It just feels to me like some of these comparisons of, hey, I'm a prosecutor and I used to prosecute low-level this doesn't feel like a low-level misdemeanor to me.
No, because they're not talking about... Remember, we talked about the fact that over the course of a little over a year, that those Chinese energy company executives paid $4.8 million to all the different entities controlled by Hunter Biden and his Uncle Jim.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, remember we reported that one. So that's just that one Chinese energy company that they dealt with. That's not even talking about the Ukrainian situation. And that was the nearly $5 million. That was just in a little over a year.
Hey, on a somewhat of a related note, because I know you were off yesterday, we also mentioned how the attorney for Hunter Biden in this case was on MSNBC, and he was asked whether or not the investigators ever asked for the laptop. And he just stumbled around and was like, no, not that I can recall. How can you possibly avoid not looking into the laptop?
They don't want to talk. They don't want to talk about that laptop.
Exactly. Like, I mean, we're talking about racketeering, money laundering, foreign bribes, every other thing under the sun that many people have alleged has occurred here with those details on that laptop. And the investigators are like, nah, hang on to it, Hunter. We don't need it. It's good. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Continue to advocate for a ban on transgender athletes in women's sports. Former college swimmer Riley Gaines spoke on Wednesday during a U.S. Senate hearing on LGBTQ rights. In her testimony, she said this about the NCAA forcing her and other female swimmers to share a locker room with Leah Thomas. This is cut 2, Daniel.
In addition to being forced to give up our awards and our titles and our opportunities, the NCAA forced me and my female swimmers to share a locker room with Thomas, a 6'4", 22-year-old male equipped with and exposing male genitalia. Let me be clear about this. We were not forewarned we would be sharing a locker room. No one asked for our consent, and we did not give our consent. And I'll set the scene. A swimming locker room is not a place of modesty. You're undressing, you're fully exposed, and we were forced to take off our swimsuit in front of a man who was doing the exact same thing. If nothing else, I truly hope how you can see this as a violation of our right to privacy and how some of us have felt uncomfortable, embarrassed, and even traumatized by this experience.
They should sue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was more. I thought she was choked up. No.
They should sue for damages.
Absolutely. But basically what they've been telling you is females' rights take a backseat to trans feelings. That's the bottom line here. It's totally messed up. It's completely wrong. From a father perspective, forget if my kids had to deal with it. I can't imagine how difficult that must be. And I'm assuming Riley Gaines' dad is alive and is aware of what's going on. That's got to be a tough pill for that dad to swallow. Like his daughter there in that setting crying over the fact that she was basically told to shut up and just deal with a dude being naked in her locker room, in her safe space, right? We always talk about the transgender community, their safe spaces. Well, what about the safe space for biological females? There's a reason why they have men's locker rooms and women's locker rooms, and a dude would not dare, most sane men would not dare to walk into a female locker room.
Yeah, and think about, just think about it from the standpoint of this, that why didn't Leah Thomas at that point of knowing that these are women, this is a whole new situation, and don't you have some humility to think about the feelings of those young women?
No, because Leah Thomas is wrapped up in his or her own feelings and wants to be included, and it feels like it's his or her right to be in a room that biologically you have no business being in.
But at the time, there were parents calling me here in Philadelphia because this originated, right, with Leah Thomas.
Yeah.
A fifth-year, 25-year-old senior, 6'4", fully erect, walking around. Think about a guy in a guy's locker room. And I asked my sons about this. I'm like, what happens in the locker room?
Wait, who said what that last statement you said?
The parents. The parents said it.
Okay.
And there was eye contact. And so I said, guys, is that like normal? And they were like, no, you'd put your football helmet, you put your helmet over it. You wouldn't. And one of the boys said, that takes an incredibly confident dude to walk around with that.
Yeah.
And just walk around and then have eye contact.
Right.
So think about that. There's a stare down. This is, I want to be you. but I can say I'm you. I can say I'm a woman, and you you stifle, you shut it.
Right.
You say one word and you're kicked out or you're booted or whatever.
And
it's intimidation. It's sexual harassment, if you will. And it's sick. There's a sick psychological thing going on here that nobody's really addressing.
Well, the locker room's always been a weird dynamic for anybody. If you've ever been in any athletic team or competition in high school or college, even just dudes in a men's locker room for football, to the standpoint that you're talking about, Dawn, with him being fully exposed and eye contact being made, like when I was in high school, there were some dudes on my team that had absolutely no problem walking around butt naked in the men's locker room. Like they were fully dressed. And then there are other dudes that always have a towel wrapped around them as they go to the shower or whatever. So there's that odd dynamic amongst what everybody presumes is heterosexual men in a sporting event locker room. Now throw in biological female with biological male, as biological male wants to be a biological female, and then to what you were just saying. Now amplify the awkwardness and times it by 10.
And so think about it. If you're a more confident female in that, because remember the age difference too. This is a fifth-year senior who swam on the men's team for 3 years.
Dawn, a lot of people go to college for 7 years. They're called doctors. Tommy Boy line.
So some females were teenagers and were intimidated.
Yeah.
But if you're let's say you're confident and you're in that locker room, think about what guys would do to another guy. Right? They would bust on, go like, yo, what are you excited to see me? Like they could bust on him. They can't even use that kind of humor. They can't even bust on formerly Will Thomas. They can't say anything because there's that intimidation, oppression factor.
Yep.
So it's psychological warfare. To me, it's sexual harassment. I think they should all sue. Get lawyers and sue for damages because that's the only way biological girls and women can win in this is to say, you, the institution, you put this forward. And Riley Gaines used the wording, they did not have our consent.
Yeah.
We did not consent to. There's a reason she has this language.
Do you think there's a future for Riley Gaines as far as making a lot of money? Because she's become really the face, the voice, and the most well-known figure in this, battle to protect biological females. Like, I feel like she's been totally trashed. The left buries her. We remember the San Francisco incident in April at that university where she was, barricaded in her room. But I feel like there's some opportunity for her here to not only become what she's becoming as far as that movement goes, but to actually capitalize on it and cash in. Because you're talking about suing. I mean, I don't know, maybe she has a future as a talk show host on Fox or whatever it might be, but
I think she wishes she could just work for, Dudette Dental. That's where she was going in her dentistry career.
That's right.
And she's newly married. I think she would be perfectly happy to have not had to have been forced into this situation. But from what she's told us, and we've all interviewed her, she feels that her voice is an important one because then she emboldens and empowers others to move forward and speak about this and speak your mind, because otherwise they're going to take over.
And one last thought on Riley Gaines. This is probably the most important one of all. She's kind of hot. I'm just saying. I just watching her she was just on Fox and Friends. I'm not going to lie. She's a beautiful girl.
She is inside and out.
Senator Dick Durbin did some questioning. He called a lot of this rhetoric. And he asked, what message does it send to trans individuals? Riley Gaines responds to Dick Durbin's questioning.
And that's the traumatizing part. Of course, the experience in and of the locker room itself is traumatizing, but I think for me, it was so easy for them to dismiss our rights to privacy. Senator Durbin, in your opening statement, you had mentioned this rhetoric. It's you had mentioned that. What message does it send to trans individuals? And my combat to that is, what message does this send to women, to young girls who are denied of these opportunities? So easily their rights to privacy and safety thrown out of the window to protect a small population, protect one group as long as they're happy. What about us? That is the overall general consensus of how we all felt in that locker room.
Title IX gets obliterated due to a mental health crisis. That should be the headline. I mean, that's really what's going on here. And You know, you talk about this what kind of message it sends, and this is what the left will do. And I mentioned it in the Big Take this morning about how they have a blatant disregard for rules of law when it comes to politicians, and then for science when it comes to biology in this battle right here. And basically what they are saying is that biological men have the right to be competing against biological females. Your feelings be damned. But my counter to that, and I'd probably answer that a little bit more directly, as opposed to kind of doing like a pivot or a spin about there by Riley. I would just say this: like, I don't have anything against the trans community, but you don't have the right to take away my rights and compete in my lane. So you can go live your life, have a blast, but stay either in the men's room, or if this trans movement is as big as everybody says. And I think we had a story last week. We never got to it, but we had it in our pile of stories to get to. Around the globe, 30 different nations were surveyed and polled, and about 9% of the population is LGBTQ+. So now you say, it's only 9%, but when you add up the raw numbers, that's a lot of people. So if this is such in demand, well, then create a separate sport for trans athletes. Let's have men, let's have women's, and then let's have another category. That's what I would have said if I was Riley Gaines.
Also at the hearing was Human Rights Campaign President Kelly Robinson. She claimed that biological males had no significant advantage over females, saying tennis star Serena Williams is stronger than some of her male counterparts. This is that discussion and how Riley Gaines disputed that claim.
Women and some that are shorter. You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Pretty good answer right there. She just completely dunked on that individual that asked that question about the comparison with Venus and Serena being legends in their sport, but still losing to the 203rd ranked man in tennis.
Finally on this, Human Rights Campaign President Kelly Robinson was asked by Senator Ted Cruz about if there's a difference between women and men, and she refuses to answer that.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women...
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
What I can say is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition happened,
I'm going to try again.
The rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes-no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having.
I'm not asking.
I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is that a yes? So I'm trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're not answering that. Let me ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is different than gender.
Why
and I do believe that women's sports have a great value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right now.
Ms. Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But why have a separate category for women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the last decade.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record an article from Duke Law called Comparing Athletic Performances for the Best Elite Women to Boys and Men.
Wow. I mean, let's be real. If there's no difference between men and women, then why don't we just have co-ed sports for everything? You know how you play in that co-ed softball league on a Tuesday night? right? You have guys, 7 guys on the team, and you got to start 2 females in a co-ed league. If there's no difference, then we'll all just have men and women together on the football field, in a boxing ring, across the board. I love the fact that they can't answer that question. I could ask my daughter. I will call my daughters next segment. We'll get them on the air, and Daddy will say, Olivia, Mia, is there a difference between men and women?
I love this.
And both of my girls would say, yes, Daddy, there is.
I love this.
And
Let's do
that clown in front of Ted Cruz couldn't answer the question.
Wow. We'll get to Dawn in 1 second. I just want to blow through a few of these Durham clips because it was a clown show yesterday. John Durham testified before the House Judiciary Committee on his Crossfire Hurricane report. I just want to play some of the highlights. Representative Cori Bush from Missouri, basically saying that all this report did was try to redeem the former white supremacist in chief, so we know where she's coming from. This is cut 6.
St. Louis and I are here today to set the record straight about this political investigation conducted on behalf of the twice impeached, twice indicted former white supremacist in chief, Donald Trump. From the start, this entire investigation has been an attempt to undermine the findings of the Mueller investigation and distract the people of this country from Donald Trump's corruption. That's why it began just days after the release of the Mueller report. And that's why 4 years later, and no matter how much my colleagues across the aisle claim otherwise, the Durham investigation did not exonerate Mr. Trump or any of his
colleagues. Sorry.
Any of his colleagues.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Bush. She had to insert her opinion into the political accomplishment. The white supremacist Donald Trump. You know how sometimes people say, hey, I think politics is all a charade. I think they're putting on a show, and when it's all over, they go out and get a beer together.
Yeah.
If that's true, do you think anybody invites Cori Bush out for the drinks?
Or this next individual, Representative Hank Johnson, who might be the biggest clown here, has no idea what he's even there for, asking Durham about indicting Barack Obama, and he says you couldn't even indict Hunter Biden, which, by the way, was not part of this investigation. Durham points that out at the end, but that doesn't stop this clown from speechifying.
At this point, how much has it cost?
As I understand the figure, having looked at it, it's around $6.5 million.
And after 3.5 years of investigation and $6.5 million of taxpayer money spent, your investigation led to the indictment of only 3 individuals, correct?
That's correct. Well, it's
contrary to the fervent prayers of some on this panel, former FBI Director Jim Comey and former CIA Director John Brennan were not among those 3 who were indicted. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And to the extreme disappointment of some on this panel, your investigation failed to produce indictments against Hillary Clinton, correct?
That's correct.
Didn't indict Barack Obama.
That's correct.
Didn't indict Joe Biden.
That's correct.
Couldn't even indict Hunter Biden.
We didn't investigate Mr. Hunter Biden.
Oh, my God. Who are these people that are questioning?
It's amazing the fact that there's so many people that are clueless that, oh, by the way, receive a salary through our taxes and then turn that money around and go on top and above those financial means and waste more of our money on these ridiculous investigations. It's just the whole thing just has me wanting to pour the biggest bourbon of all time and just drink it quickly.
Delco's own Mary Gay Scanlon said that the FBI had an obligation to investigate the Hillary Trump Russia rumors, making it local here for Dawn Stensland.
Okay.
So we've established over the course of questions that the current Attorney General, Merrick Garland, allowed you to run your investigation, I think you said, independently and without interference, right?
That's correct.
And you've talked about the thoroughness of your investigation as you performed it over the course of 4.5 years, $6.5 million, hundreds of FBI agents, 6 million pages of documents, not hundreds of FBI agents, hundreds of personnel working with you.
That would not be accurate, but...
Okay. Well, you also had the benefit of prior investigations, including the Mueller report.
Correct.
The 2019 Department of Justice Office of Inspector General's report, which concurred with you that there was an obligation to investigate, right?
Yes.
Although it disagreed with you about precisely the form, correct?
I think it's more than form, but we had disagreement in that regard.
And there was also a 2020 Senate Select Committee report on intelligence run by Senator Rubio that affirmed that Russia, in fact, had sought to interfere in our elections to benefit the Trump campaign, correct?
The report, I don't remember if Senator Rubio was the chair at the time or not.
Okay, but
I don't think he was.
Okay.
So this really explains why John Durham says at the end of the day, I'm happy with myself and my family and the Lord above, because you have the left thinking he's a total joke, and then the right saying, well, thank you for confirming Russia was a hoax, but you didn't go far enough, and you didn't investigate other people, subpoena powers, and all the other stuff. He's disliked on both sides.
It's true. It's
Mr.
true.
Durham doesn't have many friends.
I mean, like,
poor guy.
Do you feel like the people who were doing this questioning had no idea what was in that report or anything about it?
It's like being handed advanced bullet points without actually consuming the product.
Bubba45 says Mary Gay Scanlon looks like the Grim Reaper.
A little bit.
Is it gay or J?
I think it's J.
It's spelled like gay.
Yeah. Well, Helen Gim's is pronounced Gim. It's spelled like Jim.
Dawn, is it gay or J?
Gay. I thought it was gay.
Okay.
Mary Gay Scanlon.
Okay.
I never heard J. I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody on the YouTube chat said J.
Oh, did they?
No. Well, the YouTube chat must be right. The internet's never wrong, right? There you go.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for what's on the cut sheet for today. Coming up in just about 5 or 6 minutes, we will get to Dawn's big three at probably like 8:46. But right now, Dawn Stensland with a word for Duck, Duck, Go.
Yeah, because, we think about this with regard to privacy. You want to protect your privacy. You want to protect your kids. I was at this event where we were talking about the algorithms that track and impact teenage kids. And that's why I'm so thankful that for years I've used DuckDuckGo. By the way, a local company. They're not a West Coast company. Woohoo. They're from, right here in our area, which is pretty awesome. And I like that too. People that I've actually met, and I know they're decent people, and they created this company. I love that too. But I love that I know that my kids, by using DuckDuckGo, these weird algorithms that target kids, and in some respects are blamed for some of what's going on with kids with the mental health crisis, etc. They're not targeted by those algorithms. Why? Because they're not tracked. Thanks to DuckDuckGo. So here, if you haven't heard about it, DuckDuckGo is a browser. It's like Chrome, but it's private. It actually blocks those creepy trackers, and it comes with DuckDuckGo private search, which is like Google, but does not spy on your searches. It's available everywhere on Android, iOS, Windows, and Mac. So whether it's your phone or whether, for example, at work, and the Chrome aspect with your computer is more recent. So I was able to download DuckDuckGo and use it on my work computer, my home computer, or on my smartphone. Here's the thing. This is an independent internet privacy company, and I can tell you, I can verify for you, they really do protect your privacy, and it's something that's very important to me. And if you don't know about this, please just check it out. Please do your own research. This is a big deal. It's so easy. Just one download, DuckDuckGo. It keeps your searches and your browsing activity more private, and it comes with email protection, and that keeps your email more private too. So sometimes you might not realize that even your email, your privacy is being threatened here. To me, I just think this is so important, not just for me, but for my teenage kids. And I want to spread the word. Honestly, it's the #2 mobile search engine in the United States, across the UK, Canada, Australia, and much more. 3 billion private searches every single month. So those hidden third-party trackers lurking on 85% of the most popular websites, see, they block them. And it's really cool because you'll get a report. So I love this, where I can look up, like yesterday, 1,900 trackers. They block them. And I just absolutely love it. So you got to do this. And it's so simple. So please do this. DuckDuckGo, all you have to do, it's so easy. One download, DuckDuckGo. It keeps your searches and your browsing activity private. Do it for you. Do it for your family. It just keeps you safer. DuckDuckGo. You got to do it.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. June means Men's Health Month for Rescue Natural Supplements. We all know how demanding life can be. When juggling work, family, and personal commitments, you need energy and optimal health. So fear not, because Rescue Men's Health Supplements are here for you. For the month of June, save 50% on the products that guys need most. That's half off on testosterone boosters, prostate support, and more. Discover the amazing benefits of Rescue Natural Male, Prime RX, Super Prostate. No code is needed to get 50% off. Just call a Rescue Product Consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, or shop online by visiting res-q.com. res-q.com. It's not just your physical health. Men's supplements can help your mental well-being, too. Again, no code is needed to get 50% off on Rescue Men's Health favorites. Shop res-q.com today, res-q.com.
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tell incoming flights you want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials Light Trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service interrupted. New Raid Essentials Light Trap. Insecticide-free protection.
Hey, this is Pastor Devlin, frequent guest on Dawn, Dom, and Rich. I'm inviting you to the March for Life, Saturday, June 24th at 9 a.m. We'll gather at the Cathedral Basilica there in Logan Circle, and we're also having the largest baby shower in Philadelphia. Bring your new items for babies and young moms, and we'll see you Saturday, June 24th, 9 a.m. at the Cathedral for the March for Life and Philadelphia's largest baby shower. For further info, prolifeunion.org.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Hey, Percy, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Remember to take us anywhere with the free Odyssey app.
It is Kayal and Company, 8:45. Live here on a Thursday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Stream us for free on the Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Do what Greg says and do it now. Have we gotten to 100 likes? Or are we still
let me see here. Hang on. Everybody just enjoy the music for what? Yeah, I was just going to say. Let me see. Yes, we're actually at 100 likes right now.
All right.
So if you're watching right now, please hit the like button. We're at 3.69 subscribers. Can we get to 3.7, please?
All right.
If you're listening right now, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Hit the subscribe button. Be the 3,700th. I can't believe I'm saying that.
That's about 10 away. 3,690.
Yeah. For our YouTube channel that by the way started at nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
And if we can get to 4,000 before we break next Friday for the 4th of July weekend, we're going to have a lot of bragging rights, not just in this building with all of our stations here with the Odyssey Philadelphia cluster, but company-wide.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. Also, Daniel did a good job, by the way, of putting up the link if you want to download that DuckDuckGo app. We encourage you to do so.
Yes.
So it's in the chat.
Anthony.
It's in the chat section of our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT.
You can always go to duckduckgo.com.
Yes.
As well.
I've heard that.
And,
heard we can do that.
And really, with one of the things, and I know this is not like a read right now, but the cool things with the app is like when you fire it up and you go to a site, you'll see like this rapid thing in the top left corner. It's like, and it basically it's the collection of all the things that they're blocking, and you can click on it and see, so this guy was trying, or this company was trying to spy on me.
By the way, it's always like Facebook, and it's always those groups that you that you notice the most. And the fire button is awesome. You hit the fire, and it just your whatever site you're on.
Exactly.
But this morning, I mean, but
I'm
sometimes
just saying, Google blocks porn searches. I'm just saying that. DuckDuckGo might not.
But here's the thing.
You're a creep.
Oh, sorry. I know.
This morning, so sometimes I want to look at, the sites, the news sites that I go, all the different ones to look for different stories.
Mm-hmm.
So you also have the option that it asks you right along the way, do you want to be able to look at your frequently, but it's all by choice.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can, if you like to do that, let's say you're at work and you're doing a certain project, it can block everything, or you can click on that button where it says, I want you to show me my most frequent searches or that sort of thing.
Correct.
My favorite sites.
Yes.
By the way, we're 7 subscribers away from 3,700. Come on.
Yes.
Come on, do it right now.
away.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Be the 3,700.
Well, let's get it done.
I bring it.
Exactly. So we got a lot of good stories to get to, and I probably won't get to all of them that I had planned for the rest of the show because we do have some great guests coming up in studio at 9:30. Mark O'Connor, Stephanie Mack, Families Behind the Badge. They're going to talk about the bike ride, and of course, you can sign up. You can donate money anywhere from $5 to $500. That's been the range of our donations so far. You can also join us for the bike ride, 30 miles, 65 miles. So we're going to have a good, fun conversation with that at 9:30. I've got some Elon Musk stuff, also some betting odds and primary polls versus general polls, which is weird, and we'll get to this, hopefully, at the top of the hour. But the betting market is telling us something completely different than the primary poll for the Republican nomination, and that is telling us something completely different than the general election poll. So we got 3 different narratives that are out there, and we'll try to make sense of which one is most likely to come to fruition in 2024. But as we wrap up the 8 o'clock hour here for the next 5 or 6 minutes, Colin Kaepernick is back in the news. Many of you know, former quarterback in the NFL for the 49ers, 2016, he starts taking a knee for the national anthem. He has the socks that says basically that cops are pigs. And there was this, big polarizing effect between Kaepernick and Trump and the NFL and racism. Well, Kaepernick is at it again, and we know he's been out of the league for 7 years. But Colin Kaepernick actually has the temerity to say that black liberation is not possible under capitalism. Now, I want you to think about that as a professional athlete, as an African American. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the equivalent of Bernie Sanders writing a book saying it's okay to hate capitalism while charging $95 to purchase said book on hatred of capitalism. So in an interview with The New Republic, Colin Kaepernick defended partnering with prominent Marxists to edit a new pro-black studies anthology because, quote, black liberation simply isn't possible under capitalism. Kaepernick, along with the editors, also penned essays for the book. And here is one of the excerpts. I've admired Keanja and Robin's work as well as their uncompromising political analysis and understanding that black liberation simply isn't possible under capitalism, Kaepernick said of his fellow editors. I think the anthology makes this argument quite well, and I hope it challenges readers to see that racism is not white supremacy's only ingredient. White supremacy persists in part because of its relationship with capitalism, heteropatriarchy, ableism, and so on. Now, if you want to read this incredibly talented book, it will come out 4th of July weekend, which is very interesting because I think Kaepernick hates America. So let me understand this and see if I'm processing what Colin Kaepernick is saying. He is saying that as a black person, you will never thrive because capitalism will keep you down. This is the guy who made millions in the NFL based solely on merit and what the market dictates. Colin Kaepernick didn't get a starting job in the NFL because he checked boxes. Colin Kaepernick was a starting quarterback in the NFL for 4 or 5 years because he was dominant. And NFL defenses couldn't stop the guy. Whether he was throwing or running, he was really, really good for a small window of time. So he cashed in on his ability in a capitalistic society where the NFL says, you know what? You will get paid this because that's what the market dictates. And you're going to be paid based on your merit. And then, to further prove that capitalism does not hold people back like this, he pivots away to become an activist, where now it's presumed he's making way more money than he ever did. He's got a Netflix documentary. He's employed by Nike. He's got book deals. He's profited even more being a social justice warrior than he was a quarterback in the NFL.
I was just going to say that.
And capitalism is the devil?
He really, I mean, he's the epitome of capitalism.
I just don't think you thought that one really well. You didn't
No,
think that through.
he is the epitome of capitalism. He was a very famous NFL quarterback for a cup of coffee, and then was not good anymore and was drummed out of the league because he was not good anymore. And he found a way to monopolize or make money off of his cup of coffee in the NFL.
Yes. I mean,
he's the epitome of capitalism.
He, in a lot of ways, living the American dream. And then you can sit there and say, a lot of people, well, he was blackballed by the league. Well, but he had opportunities to come back and work out and try out, and then he jerked teams around. He moved the locations. We sit here and say, well, Trump jerked around the feds, and then the feds got mad. He jerked around NFL franchises because he didn't feel like he had to compete for a job.
I was just going to say that.
And should have been handed it to him. I'm sorry. This doesn't pass the test on any level.
He made it more profitable to be a victim than to be a talented quarterback.
And forget the celebrity status, and let's also forget about race. Capitalism gives you the opportunity to go to levels that essentially there are no limits to.
Yep.
Right? Like, we sit here and talk about different societies and socialism and stuff like that. Capitalism gives you the opportunity to rise from the ashes and become rich. I would love, who I would love to see sit down with a one-on-one with Kaepernick? Tim Scott.
Yeah.
Tim Scott would sit there because Tim Scott was on Fox 2 nights ago, and he said, and I tweeted this quote because I was watching it. I'm a big Tim Scott guy, and even though I know he's got no shot, but Tim Scott said, from the cotton fields to Congress in one generation. I almost forgot the quote. I actually tweeted it myself, and I still almost forgot. That's a really powerful statement. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see Tim Scott sit down and have a conversation with Kaepernick and just have a back and forth as to what's so bad about capitalism.
Well, it's interesting because it's the victimized group versus the ones that realize that there's opportunities for everybody in this country. You know what I mean? Just because you're not born with what others are born with does not give you. It helps some people. People are helped by their status in life, obviously, but it doesn't deter you. You know what I mean? And this victimization that happens all the time. This is like, well, victimization pays. Didn't speaking of Vivek Ramaswamy, didn't he write that book or something about victim culture and stuff? Like it's a plague, and it's keeping a bunch of people down.
Well, don't tell Sonny Hostin that because she thinks Tim Scott's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
But then you grab Kaepernick and you grab anybody else that's successful that in Sonny Hostin's world or even Kaepernick's world, black people can't be successful in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, it is in this day and age in 2023, it's never been better for people that are not straight white cis male, right? You get more opportunity. There's more diversity, equity, and inclusion, and everything that this administration talks about. So, I'm sorry, you're not the victim right now.
Don't say cis because if you do it on Twitter, you might get banned.
Oh, that's right.
Which we'll get to that story.
Yes.
NP Bixler says, since capitalism is so bad, Kaepernick's going to give that book away for free, right?
Well, that's the irony of this whole thing is that he's making more money, like we said, as a victim in a capitalist society than he ever did in the NFL.
Yeah, and for Nike.
Yes.
Worked for Nike.
Yep.
Vivek's 2 books, Woke Inc. and Nation of Victims.
Nation of Victims, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, Kaepernick can do what he wants. He can go to a greater calling. If that's the true motive, then great, so be it. But I think he also realized he would make more money as a martyr than he would be as a backup quarterback in the NFL. Nike and Netflix paid better than...
And by the way, God bless him for it because that's the beauty of the capitalistic system. That's
correct.
You can be a nudnik and still make money doing things. If people will pay for your nonsense and whatever, then so be it.
Yep. I agree.
Thank you.
By the way, former Texas Congressman Will Hurd, 45 years old, Trump critic, puts his name into the ring for POTUS 2024.
Oh,
he's
man,
a Republican.
Now we've got 13 candidates.
It's God.
Wow. I mean, because basically 2 through 12 have no shot anyway, so let's be number 13, right?
Yep.
Boy.
Joe USMC on YouTube says he's a professional victim. That sums it up better than I did.
I know.
So thank you for that.
You know what? I'm done doing radio. I'm just going to become a victim.
I mean, honestly, well, you're not the right. Well, you weren't. Even though both your parents are deceased and you didn't grow up with, in some big luxury high rise, you're white, so you're not.
Right. Yeah, I'm tired of the straight white cis man under attack. I'm a victim now, damn it. I'm going to start a movement. I might even tweet about it. 855-839-1210. 9 o'clock hour is on the way. We will get to the Elon Musk story, and then also we have to get to these, what I think is 3 different stories being told from polls on the primary, polls for the general, and then what the betting market is telling us, and they're all completely different. It's all coming up. 9 o'clock hour is on the way. It's Kayal and Company, where capitalism thrives.
QC Kinetics, Dawn.
Hey, QC Kinetics. You got to do that. Are you aching? Kind of achy, especially in this cold weather. Maybe arthritis, maybe that past injury. You got to check out Q. You're always asking me, Dawn, does it work? It works. All right? We're now pushing toward July, and summer is in full swing. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You do need to call QC Kinetics today. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics give you a life without chronic joint pain. How does that sound? And you can do all the stuff you want to do this summer, all the activities. You can enjoy them. You can enjoy yourself. So QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking these healing properties from your own body and applying them directly into your aching joint so that your joint tissue repairs itself and is restored fully and naturally. This treatment is truly, it's a breakthrough, it's revolutionary, and it's right here in Philadelphia. It's right here for you. Patients across the country and across our region are really talking about this and are experiencing these life-changing results. There are no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. So if you're suffering in pain, maybe in your knees, your aching back, your shoulders, like which shoulder is it for you? Your right shoulder, your left shoulder, your hips, and you don't want to admit to it, and you feel like, oh God, I don't want to complain or people to think, oh, I'm getting old. It has nothing to do with that. But QC Kinetics is the answer for you. Stop what you're doing. Call QC Kinetics now for that free consultation and learn how these latest advances in regenerative medicine give you your life back. Just call them, 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics is where it's at, 215-999-3000. Please tell them Dawn sent you.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Your neighborhood Total Wine and More has big news. We've moved 2 doors down into a bigger, brighter, brand new store in the plaza at Cherry Hill. Our selection grew so big, we needed a bigger store. But our low prices and helpful guides are staying right where you like them. Have some fun learning in our brand new classroom and check out our expanded cigar humidor. With the lowest prices for over 30 years in the tri-state area, you'll always find what you love and love what you find at your new Total Wine in the Plaza at Cherry Hill. Drink responsibly, B21.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dust off those renovation plans and start designing that new kitchen of your dreams with some help from Colonial Marble and Granite. Colonial Marble and Granite is offering fully installed countertops for just $14.99 or an all-in kitchen for $6,999, including cabinetry, countertops, and sink and faucet package. You heard right, $6,999 all-in kitchen. Stop by a Colonial Marble and Granite area showroom to see their amazing selection of products or make an appointment for a free in-home consultation. Visit colonialmarble.net.
Cozy
Cozy Jewelers isn't an ordinary jeweler. They create beautiful, one-of-a-kind heirlooms designed to stay in your family for generations. So for something extra special for Mother's Day, anniversary, or just because, choose Cozy. With over a century of combined experience, Cozy Jewelers artisans know every piece and moment should be magical. Before you buy off the shelf, experience handcrafted custom jewelry from local specialists with the 5 C's of diamonds: cut, color, clarity, carat, and cozy. COZZIJewelers.com.
Howdy, I'm Hank, and I'm a plumbing pro who installs Bradford white water heaters. I've done so many, my buddies call me Hank the Tank. If you want a reliable, efficient, long-lasting water heater that's built to be the best, you want Bradford White, and you can only get one from a pro like me. How you heat your water matters, so make it a Bradford White water heater. Check out BradfordWhite.com and find a pro like me. Take it from Hank the Tank. Choose Bradford White.
Wendy's Strawberry Frosty is back for the summer. Because if it's summertime, it's Frosty time. Beach time, Frosty time. Tea time, Frosty time. Me time, Frosty time. Treat yourself to Wendy's Strawberry Frosty this summer and make time for Frosty time. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. Now open till midnight or later.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary.
The Dudette Dental Group is the official dentist for the Philadelphia Eagles and would love to care for you. The Eagles trust Dr. D and his team, and you can too. With 30 area locations, the Dudette Dental Group provides specialized care like dental implants, root canal therapy, fillings, and more. During the off-season, take care of your smile and get ready to cheer on our team. Dudette Dental Group accepts all major dental insurances and has pre-season specials on whitening and cosmetic dentistry. Visit PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com.
Fans of Philly, looking to hit the road this season to watch our Philadelphia football team? Book your road trip with Fans of Philly. Trips are now available for pre-order to Kansas City, Tampa Bay, and New England. Travel in style with transportation, pregame party, and game tickets to enjoy the Birds on the road this season with Fans of Philly, the official travel partner of 94 WIP and the Eagles Radio Network. Book now at fansofphilly.com. That's fans with a P of Philly.com.
Hey, Collegeville, tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
It's a bunch of malarkey.
I agree. It's a bunch of malarkey, Joe. But we got to get through it. It's Kayal and Company, 9:05, fourth and final hour. Underway on this Thursday morning. Fox News alert, breaking news. Remote-controlled vehicles sent down to the bottom of the ocean to look for the Titanic submersible with new assets en route to missing sub search. I don't know. It just feels like maybe they should have done some of these things a couple hours ago.
Well, a
couple days ago.
They had to get them there.
I was just going to say it's timing, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Don.
I have that.
I'm sorry.
You want that in the big
Yes.
three?
Oh, yes. Don, you will give it to me in the big three. Absolutely.
What is happening?
Give it to me, baby.
Yes, here we go.
Hit me.
We'll get to the Elon Musk story and these polls in just a moment. But I didn't mean to steal Dawn's thunder. My mom just wandered.
Stop.
I'm getting a Leah Thomas in the girls' locker room.
What? Who wrote that?
Yeah. See, this is why they don't let me go off script. I'm like, Joe, stick to the script. All right, let's get to the business. 9:06 Thursday morning. Dawn 3's Big 3 at 9.
Dawn 3.
It's the Big 3 at 9.
You're right there.
Kayal and Company.
You okay there?
Well, anyway.
There's so much going on.
He's having a stroke right
Oh,
now.
my
as we
goodness.
I'll be
speak.
with Fetterman in about 2 weeks.
So we've got the Big 3 sponsored by Discover Lancaster. So, yeah, we have all of these different, it's a race against time and all the cliches that we hate in the news business, right? But these are all cliches, and truly people are praying for a miracle because at 7:08 a.m. today, by all estimates, and they are just estimates, the crew of the Titan officially, according to the estimates, ran out of oxygen. So they have all of these different remotely operated vehicles, these ROVs capable of reaching the seabed, transmitting images to the surface, and that was deployed by French researchers, which is amazing. And it has 2 mechanical arms that can carry out extremely delicate maneuvers like cutting or removing debris. So that's critical. And by the way, there's one from New Jersey. Its name is it's an ROV Juliet. It was flown in from Jersey, previously spent around 200 hours exploring the Titanic wreck.
Wow.
So this team has already done this before, and right from New Jersey.
So it's the ROV Juliet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Juliet.
Probably a smaller version. If they wanted the bigger version, they could have used the ROV Christie.
Oh, I see what you did.
It's from New Jersey.
The U.S. Coast Guard, as far as I'm seeing, and I keep monitoring this, they're still operating this as an active search and rescue. So once they say recovery, we know what that means when they change it from rescue to recovery. So they're still hopeful. And I just wanted to point something out because we talked about that the banging sound that they heard. And why was that important? The experts had said that the reason it's important is that one of the 5 people on board is a retired French Navy diver. And he would know the protocol for trying to alert searching forces on the hour and the half hour. You bang like heck for 3 minutes. And that's what they heard.
Boy, some of the details of this story there's a former diver on the submersible. There's a Philly connection. And then there's a family connection to the Titanic in 1912.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, there's so many little twists to this story.
And I think that's a piece of it, that we are captivated by it. But they've said they have all of these buoys in the ocean, and Noah uses the buoys, right? And so the buoys are picking up this frantic banging on the half hour.
Wow.
And that is why they feel that this could very well be, something that this is the crew. And the other piece of this is that let's just say that the Titan, the smaller craft, and they're searching an area that's bigger than, 2 states, like 2 Connecticuts, they keep saying, to try to give us a sense of how large of an area. But they said even if this vehicle is at the surface, right at the surface, but just below the water, it would be very difficult to spot because it might just sit, even if it's right below the water, it could be. Yep. So they're giving all these scenarios saying there's still hope because we just had estimates. These are brilliant people on board here. They knew that they knew about the oxygen. So they're saying, be calm, try to sleep. There are ways to conserve. There are ways to deal with the carbon dioxide issue if they lost mechanical
Could you imagine
ability.
somebody telling you that, hey, you have a better chance of survival if you just relax and take a nap?
Yeah, but
you would do great.
Okay. Yes, let me set my alarm for 1:15. But think about that. You're probably panicking beyond belief at this point. And, I know they're not having the information relayed to them of how to survive, but imagine if somebody was in that submarine with you and they said, hey, I've read that if we just try to sleep this off, I can't fall asleep right now.
But I think at that moment, if you know that this is your life, and for the one gentleman we've talked about with his son, his teen son, you're going to do everything you need to do. And I think a calmness hopefully does come over.
As soon as Dawn heard that there's a teen son in this, she's all like, all right, they're going to make this.
I know.
Damn it, let's make this happen.
Let's rally the troops.
I know.
We're going to circle the wagons here, baby. Awful.
Okay, so number
65 go-to trips on YouTube says, brilliant people, Dawn, aboard this.
I know.
They're just wealthy. I mean,
no,
he or she is not wrong.
But they're self-made.
Wealth does not equal
brilliance.
brilliance.
That's true, but look at their degrees and their backgrounds, and you might say book smart, brilliant. I might not have the IQ of some of these guys, but there is no way in HE double hockey sticks that I would go down there with either of my teenage sons.
I would be nervous just using that remote control right now, trying to navigate that thing to the bottom of the ocean as I sit on a ship.
A little lower, and we got it.
Think about the composure you have to navigate that thing.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It is. I can't even. I do pray for a miracle. Can you imagine if
it would be an unbelievable.
Goodness.
That would be I mean, write the script.
Yeah.
This is a Hollywood box office hit.
Yep.
And by the way, Titan, add an IC to it, it's Titanic. Another little weird quirky
I know. I
thing.
get chills when I talk about this.
I mean, it was designed to.
Okay. Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what I mean? It was designed to.
All right, Hunter Biden. Nick Kayal has talked a lot about and played, and he and Greg played a lot of sound. I know that you've heard audio on the plea deal struck on the tax charges, misdemeanor deal. He'll go to court to make this final, potentially ending completely the years-long DOJ probe. We've headlined that. So another story involving Hunter Biden that has not made all of the headlines today on the national media is that reportedly Hunter Biden and the baby mama, London Roberts, who's the mother of Navy, have reportedly come to a settlement over the child support for their daughter, Navy Joan. So she's the four-year-old little girl that we've talked about. She's never been acknowledged by the rest of the Biden family, most notably her paternal grandparents, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden. And so Hunter, you may recall, he tried to deny that he fathered this child. A DNA test proved otherwise. There was a court-ordered paternity test, and it proves, yes, he is the father. They have reportedly agreed to a reduction to $5,000 a month rather than $20,000 a month, and that the little girl, Navy, cannot take the Biden last name.
Wow. Boy, what a story.
Yeah.
What a family.
I know. It's a sin.
Yeah, that's what.
Number 3, Billionaire Fight Club. I don't know. Is this the Elon Musk? Is this the story you were going to talk about? Because otherwise I would.
No.
Okay.
Elon and Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that tomorrow.
So Billionaire Fight Club, this is a fascinating story that has gone viral where you have a match. So Twitter owner and Tesla CEO Elon Musk suggesting Vegas, where else, for the location of a cage match after reportedly being challenged to a fight by Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg.
If this actually comes to fruition and they get it on, we need to have sales sell us a remote in Vegas. We do the show Friday morning before the fight on Saturday. We go to the fight, we bet on the fight, we fly home Sunday, and we do the show again Monday.
You can do all that if you want to. I'm doing none of that because none of this is going to happen, and I don't want to go to Vegas.
And just so everybody knows that I can bet with my head and not my heart.
Yeah.
I have far more affection for Elon Musk than I do Mark Zuckerberg.
Agreed.
That said,
I'm going Team Musk.
I would bet my house.
Oh yeah.
On Zuck.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Oh, me too.
He's got the jiu-jitsu black belt or something.
Yeah. Two nerds fighting.
Nerd fights.
So Musk had tweeted out Vegas Octagon, responding to the Instagram post by Zuckerberg, who had shot back with a message of "Send me location."
Yes.
Yeah, these two.
Uh-huh. I love it though.
This as Meta has said it will release a Twitter rival, and Facebook parent Meta is reportedly working on this standalone text-based social media app that could compete with Twitter.
That's right. Left-wing Twitter. So now here's what you do for all the blue check left-wing social media nuts out there that said I'm leaving Twitter, free speech, it's now hate speech, and they haven't left. Well, now you actually can leave because if Zuckerberg launches what is viewed to be a rival to Twitter, go ahead.
Yeah.
Take your ball
Good
elsewhere.
luck with that.
Have fun.
They'll be tracking you like heck.
Bye-bye.
All right. Adventure Waits in Lancaster County experienced the thrill of kayaking and hiking with, is this Sheik's Rock Outfitters? CHIQUES. I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Isn't it on the copy?
Yes.
I'm the wrong guy to ask.
And by the way, the sales team, they put Lancaster. They put a pronunciation guide for. I know how to say Lancaster.
Oh boy.
But I don't know. I'm not sure about.
So it is Lancaster.
It's Lancaster.
Okay.
Lancaster.
I always say Lancaster or Lancaster.
No, it's Lancaster.
I get everything wrong.
But Sheiks, like Sheiks and Graffitis, that was the bar that owned by Prince in Minneapolis.
What about that?
Back in the day.
Good
All
knowledge.
Right. CHIQUES. They are Sheik's Rock Outfitters, explore scenic waterways, conquer rugged trails. This sounds wonderful. Discover the beauty of nature. Visit discoverlancaster.com and plan your trip today. Thank you, Discover Lancaster, for sponsoring our Big Three with Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. Speaking of Elon Musk, he now says that cis and cisgender are considered slurs on Twitter. So Twitter CEO Elon Musk declaring that words such as cis, a derogatory term for a person who is not trans, is now considered a slur on Twitter. Quote, repeated targeted harassment against any account will cause the harassing accounts to receive, at minimum, temporary suspensions. Elon Musk said the words cis or cisgender are considered slurs on this platform. Musk was replying to a tweet from commentator James Esses, who said that he was harassed and called names after saying he didn't want to be called cis. Quote, yesterday, Esses wrote, after posting a tweet saying that I reject the word cis and don't wish to be called it, I received a slew of messages from trans activists calling me sissy and telling me that I am cis, whether or not I like it. Just imagine if the roles were reversed, which is a great point. So I always hear we always hear, the trans community is under attack. Okay, well, it seems like the cis man or the cisgender has become under attack from these trans activists on Twitter, and Elon Musk says we're going to put an end to that. So thought that story was worth sharing for a moment. As it looks like, we've got some people out in the hallway. I think we got
more tours.
There we go.
No, that's Mark O'Connor.
That's for the bike ride.
Oh, it's Mark? Oh, good.
Yeah. They're a little bit early.
I wasn't sure. We had kids earlier. We're like, it's like a fishbowl.
Yeah. All right. Do I have time to do this polling, or should we just get to the clip?
No, you have time.
Okay. Because I do want to pay off this tease. We have talked a lot about, taking polls with a grain of salt. And I'm seeing three different things. And I think we need to kind of just flush this out quickly and see what we make of this. So, as we know, the national Republican primary, Trump in a landslide right now. The one I have right in front of me from Morning Consult, he's up 37 points on DeSantis. Trump, 57%. DeSantis, 20%. Pence, surprisingly, in third at 7%, with a quartet of people at 3%, including Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Chris Christie. I almost called him Steve Christie. And Asa Hutchinson at 1%. So that's really no surprise where we talk about the Trump-DeSantis gap. It's almost 40 points. It's sitting at 37 points. So just keep that in mind for a second. Now, when it comes to the general election for Pennsylvania, as well as Georgia and Arizona, we see a common theme, and it's different from the Republican primary, the numbers I just gave you. In a Pennsylvania general election right now, DeSantis is up 2 points on Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is up 4 points on Donald Trump. So 47-45 DeSantis on Biden, yet Biden up 48-44 on Trump. And that is the same theme for Arizona and Georgia, as well as Pennsylvania. So again, Republican primary, Trump up by 37 points on DeSantis. General election, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona. DeSantis leads Biden, yet Trump loses to Biden. Okay? And now the third element to this, the third different story, the third different narrative we are getting are the presidential odds to win the election, where Joe Biden is a healthy favorite. If you want to bet on Joe Biden and you believe he will win the election in 2024, you get 1.5 to 1 on your money. He's plus 150. Donald Trump is plus 235. So $100 will get you 235 back. Ron DeSantis is in third at plus 450. He's 4.5 to 1 on your money. So we're being told in the Republican primary, universally across the board right now, it's Trump in a landslide.
Yep.
Yet in general elections, DeSantis beats Biden, yet Trump loses to Biden.
Yep.
And then from the betting standpoint, Joe's the favorite, Trump's in second, DeSantis is in third. Three different sources, three different polls, three different odds, three different narratives right now.
Wow.
What do we make of that? Because I look at it from the standpoint of, I've said,
I always follow the betting odds. They're way more accurate than the polling.
So Biden.
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought that was worth sharing because I'm looking at some of these numbers and it's like, the odds makers are the smartest people on the planet. These guys are incredibly brilliant. They know. I mean, you're trying to protect the house,
or they know something we don't,
or they know something we don't know.
I don't know if they're brilliant,
and I don't know what pollsters know at all, because if we're basing this all off of the 2022 midterms, the polls were wrong on almost everything.
Yep.
Yep. So
it's a year and a half out.
I know.
500 days.
They know nothing.
I know.
They know nothing.
There is so much. I mean, we could actually get to the point where one or two of these guys aren't even eligible to be in the election. Remember, we got Gavin Newsom circling the waters.
Yeah.
DeSantis kind of, just waiting for something to happen on the Trump front. So, I mean, and you got RFK, which we'll get to this tomorrow. We're not going to have time today. LA Times headline, RFK Jr. is a threat to your health and our democracy.
Because of the vaccine stance.
We know there's a lot of threats to democracy, but RFK's added to that now. He's not only a threat to your democracy, he's a threat to your health.
Yep.
I'm surprised he hasn't been labeled white supremacist yet, but that's probably going to come later. So that'll do it. 9:23. It's a Thursday morning. Let's get to our morning mystery movie clip.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
15-year-old daughter at the international school.
Yeah. Facebook? Is that possible?
Dude, Facebook's my bitch.
Seriously? Like she fights with her parents or...
Don't worry. I know all the hooks for this kind of phishing. Query name, so email, keyword, whatever selector you want. And justification is where I write. In other words, turning your daddy into a CIA informant.
Wait, that's it?
That's it, bro.
You don't have to get a FISA court order?
No, not here. Key score's under 702 authority, which means no warrants.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
How about this? 4 tickets to watch the 4th of July fireworks aboard the Battleship New Jersey, Camden, New Jersey. For more information and tickets, visit battleshipnewjersey.org. Caller 12-855-839-1210. You got yourself a 4-pack of fireworks tickets if you can identify that movie clip. Our winner on the other side, as well as Mark O'Connor and Stephanie Mack, Families Behind the Badge Children's Foundation. The bike ride, the details, the conversation, and the fun is coming up next. Stay there.
We're planning that family road trip that we do every year. David has qualified for the Junior Olympics. So before we do, this is the time of year, and it's a great time of year to find that new certified pre-owned vehicle from my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. Did you know Piazza actually carries more than 1,200 pre-owned vehicles at any given time? Yeah, 1,200. So not only the brands that you've heard me talk about, like my Honda minivan, but Honda, Acura, Mazda, Hyundai, Volkswagen, any other brand you can imagine. That's the selection I'm talking about. Selection, service, great family. Started Piazza Auto Group, nearly 60 years ago with one dealership in the community. Just visit piazzaautogroup.com, Piazza autogroup.com. Search Piazza's pre-owned inventory, or for a dealership near you. They are across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. piazzaautogroup.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Hoffman, owner of Mainline Pro Painting. We specialize in painting homes and businesses in the Mainline suburbs and surrounding areas, delivering the highest quality of professionalism, attention to detail, and customer service. We also give back to our community. We recently partnered with Sherwin-Williams and the Travis Manion Foundation in painting the home of U.S. Marine veteran Chris Guarana, in honor of my father, U.S. Army veteran Lawrence Benjamin Noel. To bring your home to life, visit us at mainlinepropainting.com.
It's all gas, no brakes on Saturday, July 1st when the Phils host the Nats at 4:05, followed by a post-game concert featuring Diesel, a.k.a. Shaq. It's another fun Phillies post-game concert presented by Jim Beam. Order tickets now at Phillies.com. Join us to light up the night with a spectacular Xfinity post-game fireworks show following the Phillies matchup against the Padres on Friday, July 14th at 6:05. Order tickets now at Phillies.com.
Hiring is a lot easier with Indeed. Their powerful platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
You got the alert this morning. Now get the whole story. Count on NBC 10 News today.
It's more than just headlines. It's news to get you ready for your day.
If you need motivation, here we go. We've got your playbook.
the most accurate hour-by-hour weather forecasts.
Traffic info to get you there and back easier. It's all you need to get up, get ahead, and stay ahead.
Make your mornings count with NBC 10 News Today. Count on it.
Make Hatfield a part of your summer menu for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hatfield's variety of marinated pork, ground pork and sausage, ham, and bacon bring flavor to the table your whole family will enjoy. With over 24 distinct flavors that can be ready in minutes, it's food you can feel good about serving. At home or at the shore, find your flavor with Hatfield. Visit simplyhatfield.com for delicious summertime recipes and to find a retailer near you.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
We heard you loud and clear. You love the WNBA and want more analysis and insight on your favorite players.
Welcome to Queens of the Court, an Odyssey original podcast. I'm your girl, Cheryl Swoops.
And I'm Jordan Robinson. All season long, we'll be bringing you the post-game analysis that you crave and sitting down for interviews with athletes across the W.
You can listen to Queens of the Court on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you want a beautiful home that's easy to maintain? I've been telling you about a great company that does just that. John Gilgee is here to tell you in his own words. Take it away, my friend.
Hello, it's John from Rhino Shield, reminding you that spring is here and Rhino Shield is ready to help you paint your home for the last time. Our permanent exterior house paint is not ordinary paint. It's a ceramic house coating that goes on like paint and looks like paint, but is guaranteed for 25 years. If your home's exterior isn't looking as good as you'd like, Rhino Shield is the solution you've been looking for. It's affordable because you only have to paint one last time, and it protects your home with a durable and waterproof coating that goes on any exterior surface. Find out why so many of your neighbors are choosing the permanent paint solution from Rhino Shield by calling to schedule your free estimate today at 844-RHINO-99. That's 844-744-6699.
At Agora Cyber Charter School, all students can thrive in a classroom. Agora staff rallies around each student, giving them a sense of belonging through their own unique experience from the safety and comfort of their home. Live instruction is taught in real time by PA-certified teachers. Students have no barriers to reaching their highest potential, to being challenged, to being curious, to being connected. Agora serves Pennsylvania students grades K through 12. Enroll today for the 2023 to 2024 school year. Learn more and attend a live virtual open house at agora.org.
Enjoy exclusive after-hours access to America's most historic prison all summer long. Night tours, Summer Twilight returns to Eastern State Penitentiary, select evenings now through September 4th. Explore the historic cell blocks with a self-guided audio tour narrated by actor Steve Buscemi. Grab a drink in the Fair Chance Beer Garden featuring Triple Bottom Brewing Company, and take part in special hands-on activities and events. Learn more and get your tickets now at easternstate.org.
Don Stensland this morning at 10. Kayal and Company now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
9:32, Kayal and Company, as we continue on here live on this Thursday morning. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg joined in studio now by Mark O'Connor. He is the founder and executive director of Families Behind the Badge Children's Foundation, as well as Stephanie Mack, widow of former Trooper Mack. So it is great to have both of you in the studio this morning as we get ready for a big event, a great cause, and lots of shame and humility in the direction of this individual right here.
You still got time, Nick. Plenty of time.
Well, you told me during the commercial, and I even said this with the big boss in here, with David Yageroff in here. I said, would I be ridiculed, laughed at, mocked, and harassed if I downgraded from 65 to 30 miles?
Yes.
Greg says yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but what we do, Nick, and our motto at the Benson Shore is what goes on the ride stays on the ride.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
But I'm doing 65, so if I'm doing 65, I've never ridden a bike.
Shame.
Let's go.
Love it.
And she had, a torn meniscus?
I had.
You had a torn meniscus?
I got it taken care of
Okay.
a couple years ago. Missing a majority of my entire meniscus. So.
Is this your first time doing the race?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
And I told Mark and Stephanie during the commercial that I have begun my preparations doing 2 miles on the stationary bike a day at my gym.
I did 20. I did 20 on the Peloton on Sunday.
Peloton. A little global elitist
She's
here.
showing you up.
Wow. She's got a Peloton. I
No,
those are
my gym does.
Oh, your gym does. Okay. All right. So let's, and by the way, the donations have been great. Keep them coming. And there's many ways that you can get involved as little as $5. We've had a big donation up to $500.
yeah.
And I know we're almost halfway towards our goal of 5,000.
Yeah, we're at like 2240, but we
Right.
want to get to 5,000 by the time you ride. By the way, it's not a race. We keep saying race. It's a ride.
Yep.
Mark O'Connor schooled me on this about 10 years ago. It's not a race. It's a ride.
Well, once you see me get out of the blocks, you'll realize it is no race.
By the way, I've done this 3 times. I finished it, Mark, how many times once?
I think twice. you
Oh,
finished.
twice.
Yeah.
Twice I did it. Mark can finish these things in like 2.5 hours, and it took me like 8 hours to finish one time.
Wow. Those days are over, Greg.
No? Yeah,
no,
okay.
Not anymore.
All right.
Now, you had mentioned that this is the 36th
36th,
installment.
Yeah, 36th annual.
You've been doing this
Benton
since the
Shore.
80s.
Yeah.
Which
late
is
80s.
remarkable.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the foundation, the structure, the goal, the inspiration. Give our listeners a little bit of a backstory as to what this is about as they contemplate, obviously, A, making a donation, and B, maybe even signing up to ride.
So our foundation is Families Behind the Badge Children's Foundation. It's a local charity, 501c3, has 2 main tenets. First of all, we support financially the families of fallen and critically injured first responders at that time of their greatest grief and highest need. And we continue to support them over the years. You know, we never forget. They become, unfortunately, part of our family. Secondarily, we have a program that we started after Ferguson, Missouri, and watching what happened in Ferguson those years ago, the mistrust, distrust, misinformation that went on, we started a program called Police Youth Alliance, where we connect cops and kids in non-enforcement positive actions.
Mm-hmm.
We often do it in classrooms. We have chess programs. Last night in West Philly, at a Philly Rec Center, we did a skills and drills with a bunch of kids, and the cops ran it. And it just lets the kids see that there's a person behind that uniform, that he's not the enemy. And it also is good for the cops. The cops see the kids a little differently. So probably never in my life has it been more important that we start to correct that misconception that people have about law enforcement.
I totally agree. Something we talk about a lot on this show, certainly a lot on this station. Stephanie, your involvement in this is certainly a little bit different. Hits home big time for you.
Yes.
Whatever you want to inform the audience about your story, your goals here, and the mission for you.
So as of March 20th, 2022, I did not know Families Behind the Badge existed. My husband gets hit by an alleged drunk driver on March 21st on 95 right side of the link. And what the world I knew was opened to a whole lot of different organizations. And like Mark said, the family that I have gained from Families Behind the Badge has been immense. I mentioned earlier that they kept me upright for the last 15 months. They came in with offsetting with the immediacy grants, and they actually supplied education grants to my 2 children along with Brittany's daughter.
That's great.
Riding this ride was literally the only way I felt I could give back, along with keeping in with the family. Mark and Amanda have given me so much support. I've met Terry O'Connor, Maureen Faulkner, and to me, they are the biggest. I don't want to say legacies, but they showed me that like you're able to rebuild, and your backbone becomes stronger, and you're able to function and survive. So, without Mark and Amanda, and without families, I wouldn't have been able to get out of bed and survive. So, here I am. I'm riding with Families Behind the Badge. I'm riding Together with the Troopers. And the captain of Together with the Troopers, Ryan Seipel, actually comes into Bucks County, into Croydon, and does the Police Alliance. So it's all full circle.
Yes.
And I love the organization. I love what it stands for. I love how they are redirecting the image of the badge, and they're humanizing it, and they're showing that they are not to be feared. They're with you, and they're not against you. And I can't wait to see what the ride supplies and how many more families can be supported.
And pretty remarkable, too, because Together with Troopers, your team has 15 riders. You've raised almost $4,000. And there's other bike teams that'll be riding. The Montgomery County District Attorney's Office, the Wheels of Justice. Bucks County has 2 teams. The Temple Police is involved. Obviously, we've had a terrible story. Dawn's highlighted it many times. Officer Christopher Fitzgerald with the Temple Police. So you have so many first responders. And if you want to get involved, if you're listening right now, the Bend to the Shore Bike Tour, we're sitting on almost $2,300 towards our goal of $5,000. You can visit bendtoshore.org. Join Team 1210. Use the promo code NICK1210. They will take $25 off your registration fee. So that's shore.org, promo code NICK1210. And once you get to the finish line, I've been informed that there's a heck of a prize.
Yeah, this is a great day. So we have 2 versions. There's a 65-mile ride that starts at the base of the Ben Franklin Bridge.
Which you're doing, Nick. That's the one you are doing. 65 miles. 65 miles you're doing it. Sorry.
If I can't finish on the bike, I will crawl on my face.
Okay. Sorry, Mark.
We also have a 30-miler that starts in Hamilton, New Jersey, and folds into the 65. So everybody finishes together in Atlantic City at the Showboat Hotel. Showboat's been fantastic, gives us this great space to hold this party. The beer's flowing. Wawa caters it.
Hey.
There'll be about 4,500 people there at the party. We have live music, raffles, 50-50s. It's a really nice group of people that you get involved with there. And many of them had just done the ride, and their families come down with them.
Yes.
And so it's great at the finish line.
By the way, if you're watching right now on YouTube, the boys in the back put the donation link right in the chat. So if you're watching right now, please help us reach our goal of $5,000. It's right there in the YouTube chat. Also, I just tweeted out the link too. I'll put it up on Facebook, Nick, if you could retweet it, just to make it easy for people. They can just click on it and help us reach our goal of $5,000. We're halfway there already, and we've only been doing it for a few days here, so we'll get there. But just help us get there.
Can I ask you a couple questions here? I mean, so Stephanie brought up, and we're here with, Mark O'Connor, you're a longtime friend to a lot of Philadelphians know you, and you're a friend to us, and we thank you for being here. And for Stephanie, I think about something that you said, and that is just thinking about that you didn't know about this organization. So I think of that, and that touches me. You mentioned Maureen Faulkner, who we've known for years too. somebody who never imagined that one day her husband, a Philadelphia policeman, would literally be executed, shot on the job. And she still has to deal with the media and the DA. And we've all covered it, right?
Yep.
And she's so supported by this organization.
Yep.
Correct.
And I'm sorry that you've joined, this club. And our condolences. We've covered your story.
Thank
I
you.
feel like I know you. You're a mom with 2 kids. Your husband graduated Bonner. My husband's alma mater. I mean, so I think a lot of us feel like we've known you, and I'm sorry for that.
And
but
it's okay.
But at the same point, I just think there's a message here. You never know when this touches your life.
Yeah.
Also, something different is we've had the defund the police movement. This is post that now, post-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes this gives this ride new meaning.
Correct. It absolutely does. I think it changes everything from the defund movement, from the riot season. The Youth Alliance is really changing the image. And I said that earlier. And I think it's imperative that the kids realize that, you are able to create your own opinions, and I think that it's integral to have this ability to create your own thoughts and everything. And one bad cop does not equate to the entire police force.
Yep.
Humanizing the badge is imperative, and it's not just a uniform. It's not just a statistic. They're not just a badge. They have families. They have moms, dads, uncles, cousins, and my sister, my older sister, my brother-in-law are riding the bike tour with me, and my brother-in-law's his own brother and his sister-in-law are doing it too. So like, it's not just immediate families, and I'm really excited that it's extended. And I'm excited to see Maureen again.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds.
Dawn, Maureen said to say hi. I was speaking to her yesterday, and she
love her.
Yeah, she's really an inspiration, Maureen Faulkner. And 1981, her husband was killed, and she is, as she says, and I'm sure Dawn has heard this from her. She says, you're joining, when she talks to people like Stephanie for the first time, you're joining the club that nobody wants to be a part of.
Sure.
And Maureen is there for every single spouse of every. Andy Chan was injured, severely injured 3 years ago, riding his motorcycle to work, highway patrolman in Philadelphia, traumatic brain injury, still alive. We continue to support the Chan family. Maureen immediately called Andy's wife, right? So she's there, and it's really heartwarming to see all these people connect. And we know how important it is that we don't forget, because life goes on, and people move on to the next news cycle, and they forget.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They forget about this.
Mm-hmm.
But Stephanie wakes up every day with this, and
has to live with it.
Tang Chan every single day has to wake up and take care of her husband and her 2 young kids, and still go to work.
Yeah.
So our organization is here, and from the support of all the people that ride and donate, we're here because those people help us remember these folks, and we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, for anybody who ever criticizes us here at PHT for, you're always talking about the problems and Donnie Downer, this is your opportunity, our opportunity to be part of a solution, part of healing, and part of a positive energy movement. And Stephanie, you bring up a great point, to make people see and realize that those who protect and serve, who wear that uniform, are husbands, dads, sons. And you say, to humanize those who protect and serve. But also, obviously, we want to support you and the families and the kids. So it does all of these things all at once. And to Nick's point about he's doing 2 miles on the, even if you're not in shape, no shame here,
So
right?
Are you gonna walk the other 63?
Yes. Actually, I'm going to get in the back of my truck, and they're going to drive me to the finish line.
By the way, Wayne
Power walk,
Bonfiglio,
right?
Wayne Bonfiglio, who I know you know, Mark,
Sure.
is in our YouTube chat, and he says, "Tell Nick we have a real bike for him."
Yes.
So people are willing to donate
It's
bikes.
a nice bike, Nick, if you need
Great.
it. Yeah, really nice bike.
We should really have this conversation now on the air, since you've been a part of it for so long, because I'm sure there are other people out there listening that are certainly going to make a donation, and might even ride that might be completely in the dark as to the process to get ready, to prepare, to train, what type of bike, helmet, gloves, the spandex shorts, the shoes you have to wear. Take us through that process a little bit so people could be more informed as to what will put them in the best position to actually complete this ride.
So if you have to be in a modicum of shape to do this, right? Because it's about 4 to 5, maybe even 6 hour endeavor if you're not in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
You need a street bike, so you want the thinner tires. You don't want a mountain bike. A little more difficult.
Okay.
We have 4 rest stops. So every 15 miles, you get off your bike, you stretch. We have refreshments. One of the big hits at our ride is the prepackaged peanut butter and jellies, the Uncrustables. Like, everybody talks about that all the time. So we hand out Uncrustables. You get back on your bike, next rest stop. If you're slowing down, we'll pick you up, move you forward. You can get back off your bike. And a lot of people do
That'll
this.
be me.
A lot of people do it. They cramp up, but they want to finish. So we just move them up a little bit. They get back on the road, and they ride in. So it's certainly doable. There's enough time, Nick, for these people to join you.
Okay.
Your listenership, they should go on right now, Bend to Shore, and they should register on your team.
That's correct. BendToShore.org. Sign up with the promo code Nick1210. We'll knock off $25 off the registration fee. That's Ben, the number 2, Shore, SHORE.org. Promo code Nick1210.
Yeah, we just put I just tweeted out the link. It's Team 1210. We're almost at $2,300, so let's help us get there. Almost halfway there. So let's help us get to our goal of $5,000. And I know these guys and gals don't want to get political, Nick, but you and I will. In a time where there's not a lot of support for law enforcement in cities, by certain DAs, by certain mayors, media. This is really an organization that gives back and helps the families of these officers, because everybody, well, that's the job you sign up for, and that's that you hear that nonsense all the time. This organization really helps these families out in a time when the majority of people, I won't even say the majority of people, but a lot of people don't
respect.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't want you guys to get involved in anything political if that's not what you want to do. But it's something that we think about here a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Amanda. Hi, Amanda. I didn't even say hi. We go way back. Are you guys doing a virtual as well? In other words, if somebody can't ride, right? I figured. So you could, and we'll try to get as much on Nick and all of our team. We'll shame each other and we'll have fun with it. So if you sign up, we should have it so if you sign up and do the virtual, you can only witness all of this.
Didn't you market the 65 as like if you eat 65 donuts?
Yeah, during the pandemic.
Nick, you could do that.
And I've done that. I've had 65.
65 shots of bourbon, right?
Go to Reading Terminal and get the donuts from Bailey's.
See? So we could have fun with it too. But
exactly.
65 anything.
Yeah, so they could do the virtual, be on your team still and do the virtual, and if they can't make it that day, and we just ask them to do 65 something, right?
Okay.
It's the cause that matters.
That's absolutely what matters.
It's helping us continue to support these families and do these programs as we do.
Mark O'Connor, Stephanie Mack, thank you so much for coming in. Again, bendtoshore.org. That's how you make a donation. We've had people donate up to $500.
Yeah.
I have an email thread going right now where my phone lights up saying anonymous donation, $500. Bob, $20. Diane, $50. So keep them coming. bendtoshore.org. Great to see you guys, and I think Greg has something else.
By the way,
we'll see you at the finish line.
One way or the other. I will make the finish line.
Sounds good.
By the way, Kathy on Twitter, she'll win Twitter today, Nick, since we're kind of doing this by the seat of our pants. Kathy on Twitter says Mark O'Connor should run for mayor.
She's got my vote.
I endorse that. So
I'll move to Philly just for that.
Kathy wins Twitter for a Mark O'Connor for mayor tweet.
All right.
No, thank you.
He's not going down that road.
I know.
No. All right. Great to see you guys, and I will see you guys in about a month.
See you in a month.
All right. The Dawn Show is coming up in just about 8 minutes, and we find out what Dawn has on tap for 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, there's so much developing and so much breaking. So we'll have all the updates today. We're watching as this Titan allegedly is running out of oxygen. So we'll keep tabs on that as well. In Philadelphia, we have some breaking stories on I-95. The timetable is changing, so we'll update you on that as well. And what's up with chicken flying the coop with lab-grown chicken now approved that you can buy? Did you guys talk about this at all yesterday?
No, lab-grown chicken?
And I apologize. I was so obsessed with Hunter Biden and the other stories with the Titan. The FDA, our government, is now approving this, that restaurants can serve chicken grown in a lab.
What could possibly go wrong for that?
Yeah, but it's going to be a hard no from me.
Yeah.
I'll take the ribeye.
So chicken, whole new chicken wars definition here.
Oh, boy. All right. The Dawn Show coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. So
is it Beyond Chicken? Because they have that. They have Beyond Chicken.
I have no idea.
It's impossible. It's like the Impossible
Whopper?
Burger.
Yeah.
Which we did that on the air, by the way.
did.
Which isn't bad,
It's
by
not
the
bad.
way.
I can tell the
but-
difference.
Yeah.
Greg lost 20. He'll tell you about it.
I didn't think you could tell the difference between Impossible and regular, but you
It
did.
seems solid, though.
Yeah.
All right, so the Titan's running out of air, and I'll be running out of air about mile 3 of that bike ride. So we're all done.
Too soon. Too soon.
Too soon. I get
It's
it.
way too soon.
Way
We don't
too
even
soon.
know if they're alive yet.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
All right. Well, it's great seeing you guys. We'll see you guys in a month. I'll start my training, see if I
Donate.
can make some sort of progress. By the way, does
Donate, please. Donate.
Donate. Bendashore.org. Does playing golf equate to riding one of these bikes?
Right.
Not
Is that like a good?
Not going to help you too much. No.
Okay. What if I start walking the course instead of riding the cart?
Well, that's a little better.
Little help?
You might get to 10 miles. Perhaps. Yeah.
We'll figure that out as we move along as well.
You're ridiculous.
Yes. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up next. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will see you Friday morning.